Hey guys, this is Alessio coming at you live before the show to thank some people on the air. So I want to say thank you to Matt Smith, Nikki Z, you know who you are, Nikki Z, Brandon Wright, Jack Keating, Brady, Joshua Wiley, Michael Nilsson, Thomas Connolly, and Scott Fox. And I'd like to thank like 100 other people because I'm a complete idiot and only read the $5 patrons. Apologies there. I would also like to thank Tori Cortez, Tyler Nuns, Jamie Christopher, Cody, Cole Duncan, Zach James, Akira Birdman, Sam Whitaker, Kyle, and Devin Reed. And Dean. Sorry about that. Thanks, you guys, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, welcome to episode number 94, or remastered number 4 of Metal Gear Mondays, the Games Club-style podcast covering all things Metal Gear from left to right, top to bottom, inside and out, in pseudo-historical recreational order. As always, I am your host, Alessio Summerfield, and this week I'm joined by, for the very first time, or the 5th time, I think, if you're listening, Allis Chang.
Hi. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey.
Perfect. I'm also joined by Sam Wright.
I think that if Michael Jordan had Air Bud, the two of them probably could have just beaten the Monstars on their own.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Wow. I'm also joined by James Reichmuth.
You know, I think you've gotten too good at the intro. Like you used to be really like this cute thing where you kind of fudge it. Now you're just like, you're fucking professional, baby. I love it.
The way that I do it is I dress like a used car salesman and we put a wacky tube man in the corner of the bedroom and I just rock and roll.
It's very loud.
Yeah.
I have to edit out the
Please help
fan
me.
sound. And also we're joined by Isaac Lim.
Hey guys, I'm here too.
Isaac Karate Lips.
Karate.
Karate lips.
Lim.
Wow. He's got the black belt to your heart on this Valentine's Day.
And the brown belt to your...
The brown belt for your what, Isaac? Excuse me?
I don't know. I'll just leave that up in the air.
Isaac's
Wow,
just fucking,
of course
he's
you
wasted.
will.
Isaac's on in a special place today.
He really is.
Yeah, that's very true.
Working
Yeah,
those abs.
this week you're all
Let
our
me just tell you.
Valentines because we're doing this instead of other things. So thank you.
Wow. That one.
I ate
you know, that one hurt.
chocolate and complimented myself.
I had those things as well. It was good.
I bought myself fancy notebooks and a fancy pen.
I saw that.
I love myself.
They're pretty fucking hot.
How many people can say that they
I
had
know.
2,000 Valentines though? Right? Like
That's
we're
true.
blessed. We have all the
That's
good
true.
girls and boys.
Hashtag.
We have each
Hashtag
other,
blessed.
which is better.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Alice,
great.
you've never heard this before, but we're going to make not only you, but also the listeners who might be listening to this for the first time have to deal with this. Isaac, actually, Sam, can you cue up a theme song to one of our favorite show portions?
Say
of all our-
meme
Yeah,
song?
yeah. No, well, it might be a mean song depending on who you ask
Theme
and what
song.
we're about to do to you. But I'd like to present a segment that we like to call "Fumbling in the Dark" with Isaac Lim.
That was good.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac. What did we talk about last week?
Oh, jeez. You know, last week was such a long time ago.
It was exactly 7 days ago.
It was. It really, truly was. But it felt like an eternity. Let me just tell you, my week has been in the pits.
It's not the question we asked.
What's going on with Isaac
This isn't
today?
a fucking therapy session, Isaac. Try to do a show here.
Can somebody turn Isaac off and on again, please?
Sam,
Can I just tell you?
Sam, can you sing the theme song one more time? It might ground.
All right, hang on, Isaac. Hang on. Okay, a segment that a segment that we like to call "Fumbling in the Dark" with Isaac Lim
About Metal Gear.
about Metal Gear.
There we are. All right, I'm back at it. Let's see. What did we do last week? Oh, we played Metal Gear Solid number 1.
Going on?
Well, I almost couldn't remember the number.
And let me just tell you what we did.
What did we do?
We did a lot, Alessio. There's a lot. There's too much. We met Mr. Otacon
sucks.
Oh,
For the record,
Dreamboat.
terrible guy.
Yeah,
Trash
Mr. Pee Pee
serpent.
Pants.
Team
is
Otacon.
what I like to call him.
This is going off the rails
James.
very
This is a
fast.
good
Does not
finale
like-
episode. Yeah, James has good taste in men.
Yes, James has great taste in men. Hates
James has
Otacon.
questionable taste in men.
Hey! You can't hate on Otacon.
Trash serpent.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
And I will.
James will tell you all about him.
Oh no, Isaac,
all the
catch us up
flaws.
quicker. That
Okay,
Otacon,
and
that
then,
Otacon thing was a
Get
really
us,
long time
get
ago.
us there quicker, Isaac.
And then we fought a lot of bad guys, and then we met a lot of good people, and then we're at the end of disc 1. People, ladies
Yay.
and gentlemen,
I think
we
that's
made it.
We killed Sniper Wolf, and then we found out that Love Cam blew him on the battlefield.
Yeah,
but
she's
you
a
gotta be able to
bad.
protect him,
She's
and-
a bad person though.
even necrophiliac love.
yeah.
Is that the implication?
She was a
that
bad
he,
mamma jamma.
He got with the
She's
body.
as fine as she
That's-
could be.
I don't know.
That's in character for that freak.
Wow.
I feel like he
Rude.
for sure went back and took the handkerchief
Rude.
off of her body after Snake left.
Did-
for
That was a
sure.
little odd.
That's a
Did
euphemism
anyone
for something.
else's heart get like ripped out when Otacon was crying
No.
Mine.
over her?
No, don't ask James.
Why?
Jesus.
My heart smiled.
Jesus.
Wow.
That sounds painful.
Smiled.
He's paying for the sins of his father in my eyes.
Oh no.
All right, let's dive into what we're covering this week, and we're gonna pick right up from the beginning of disc 2. And we're gonna be entering the hottest place in Shadow Moses.
Hell.
Oh yeah,
Also,
literally
That makes
hell.
it sound like I don't like that. I hate it actually.
Yeah, so we're going to the blast furnace. Alice, when you found out we were talking about the blast furnace on this episode, you said, "Oh no!" Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Why?
I don't know. I feel like it wasn't that fun for me. I mean, I got burned by steam a lot the first time.
Did you get hit by the conveyor thing?
And no, I think when I was in the room, off to the side, isn't there like steam that comes out? It's been a long
That's
time.
like in one of those
You like the
side
chamber.
buildings or side rooms.
Yeah, but this is the one where you
crawling.
walk in and there's like all the cameras, right?
No, this is
And
the
then
lava
you-
room.
But then you like go into the blast furnace.
The blast furnace.
Yeah, I think so. This is just
Yeah.
this is the giant lava room
Yeah.
with the this is the giant lava room that leads to the elevator that goes downstairs forever.
Yeah, and then you have to cling to the wall and like crouch down underneath the crane. Oh, it's just
Yeah,
a pain in the
yeah.
ass.
Yep.
Oh, did you guys not just blow up the crane?
What?
Can you do that? Let's talk about that. This is new.
Yeah. So okay.
Tell me
So this is something I've always done. I can't believe this shit. So in the
I've
blast
never
furnace,
done
this
that.
crane is moving.
Never-
You have to like when you come into the blast furnace, you have to like crouch under and sneak along this ledge. Traditionally, I suppose, but if you fire Nikita at it and you blow up the crane, it'll just like let you like sidle past it.
What?
Standing up, normal.
Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding
I've
me?
literally never known this.
Yeah, that shit's dope.
All these years.
Okay.
All these
It'll
years.
it'll set up an alert, but if you just run back up the stairs, you're fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
That's good to know. I think there's like
I'm
3
pissed.
dudes in this room. There's like 3 dudes wearing like radiation looking suits.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure that's it. So like this room isn't I don't know, like it's not difficult, it's just like kind of
Blah.
different.
It's
Nah.
sort of okay.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
just it adds that heat element that we were missing
That
before.
we definitely need for the next puzzle. This
need
room
it
feels
to-
like it was added for one specific reason.
Yeah, like you could reasonably assume like to get the cold you could go anywhere because that's
You would
just
think.
where you are. You're in Alaska, but they gave you this specific room because they wanted you to go back and make a fucking key card hot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so then we
I guess
get to
it's
the big
good.
old
They're at the
elevator.
Blast Furnace.
Yeah, also Blast
Mil-
Furnace is a dope name.
Shadow Moses Island's place for hot, sexy singles.
Ooh.
Wow.
I like
Ooh.
it. You got to slide right on the wall for dates in the Blast Furnace.
Not sure what that.
That was awful. That was a fucking
Can you
awful
super
date.
slide somebody? Slide up.
Yeah.
Can you put boys in the lava here?
Ooh.
Oh, like Terminator the fuck out of them?
Can you like punch,
Oh,
kick
God.
little spinning boys into the lava? Is that a doable thing?
know.
Do you have your save state still?
Yeah,
Leslie?
I'll pull it up.
Can you
I'll pull it
check
up here in
that
a
out?
bit.
Yeah,
That's good.
Next, let's play.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely
play.
trying that. But yeah, so then we essentially get into this area with the. I'm just gonna combine this mentally as one area, right? So it's
Yeah.
two giant elevators that kind of go down,
Right.
But like it's one big tunnel.
Pretty
I don't
much.
think there's really any need to kind of differentiate.
No.
But we have sort of another elevator fight. We got some guys that come and jump
Yeah,
onto
love
the
'em.
elevator.
Big fan.
Yeah. So these are the boys. These are the unsung heroes of Shadow Moses.
Truly.
These are the boys without the stealth camouflage, right? Is that the implication?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, like they came back.
The real go-getters.
Yeah, these are the guys who never stay down.
Yeah. I appreciate them.
I think it's pretty good.
Can't fault the hustle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're just normal dudes, but they just take a bunch of damage.
Oh, they're normal dudes on the surface, but in my heart, they're slightly
Rough and
above
tough.
average.
This is the Shadow Moses A-team.
Sweet boys.
I love that slightly above average sweet boys.
I love it. There's cameras between the elevators, which is really shitty.
Yep.
Like, you
it
can't
really
see them,
is.
and you don't have a radar.
It's
Oh.
And so-
hot
like, they're
garbage.
literally just there to be like, haha, shot you in the back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, haha, Claymore's in front of the elevator.
Yeah. Oh God.
Hated those
My
claymores.
favorite thing about that whole thing where they hide cameras behind corners that you can't see and then jam the radar is that they don't do it enough for you to get used to like looking in first person at every corner. So they always wind up getting you. There's one just randomly in a fucking nook along the walkway to the comm tower at like where you fight Wolf the first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And like in just one random nook, I'm just like, what the fuck? I just want this thing that's here.
It's like a
Get away from
spanking.
me.
Like, it's just like, haha, pop, and you're like, why?
Because they don't set off
I didn't
alerts.
need
It's just
that.
like a.
Owie.
Yeah, it doesn't set off an alert or anything. It's
No,
just
it's
sort of like, hey,
It's just rude.
Shoots you. Just like, quit doing
Real
that.
fucking asshole camera. You know?
he's a real son of a bitch. But then Miller, the champagne of Kodak callers,
this guy.
gives you a call, and this is when he calls out Naomi about being a potential double crosser, and
Yeah, he's got that sick fucking Hoover's a racist jab, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I used to be really into like studying the
J.
FBI.
Edgar Hoover. I used to be really
And,
into old white guys.
Yeah, and
Love me some J.
learned a
Edgar
lot
Hoover.
about J. Edgar Hoover, and he is a fucking racist, bad guy.
His name is Jay.
Yeah, well, hey,
Let's
my
be real.
name could be Jay in some circles.
But for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, essentially Miller says that Naomi's backstory about her having a Japanese father in the 50s who went deep undercover to investigate the mafia, which, as the words are coming out of my mouth, sounds like literal bullshit.
Yeah, sounds fake.
Like, it sounds like you just woke up from a coma and started screaming the first thing that came to your mind.
But Miller essentially says that couldn't be true because J. Edgar Hoover was a notorious racist, and he never would have worked with a Japanese American.
It's just true.
And then they also mentioned that the mafia raids by the FBI didn't start until like the 70s in Chicago and not the 50s in New York or something like that.
Gotcha.
It was something similar.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
he just poked a bunch of holes in her
Yeah.
story.
Which is funny because we've got, for those in the know, it's the last episode of the season. We're getting closer to it, but for those in the know, we've got a double crosser telling us about a double crosser.
I know it's sweet. You know, it's nice. It's
Which
that-
is like my favorite thing about it is that like he wasn't just trying to do it to stir shit. Like she's actually a double crosser.
Yeah, well, and so
He's
that
just like
I wanted to ask you guys this question, and maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit. Let's go ahead and say this. So
go ahead.
Miller is liquid, and we're gonna find that out in like less than 35 minutes of
Right.
gameplay. Who the fuck is Naomi a free agent?
That's
Is she just working for herself?
I have the same fucking question at this point, and it is confusing to me still. Like I have not.
she
Figured it out.
worked for the government,
Which one?
but I think Jim. I think she worked for Jim's Jim Houseman.
Oh, for the
as far as I remember.
But
Secretary of Defense?
She's like,
For the-
she's strictly
Yeah.
here for this fucking revenge game, right?
Well, yeah,
that's all it is.
Well, so that was the whole thing, is that they brought up that she was working for the government, but she went rogue and she made some changes to Fox Die,
No
and
loyalty.
then yeah.
Gotcha.
She's a coward.
Alice, since we have not talked to you about any of this stuff before, can you walk us through a little bit about what your thoughts were? Because to frame it, I think the game. This is the point in which the game enters the relationships and the double crosses being the major plot points. Mm-hmm. When prior to this, the game's been all about gameplay and cool action movie stuff. I feel like from this point moving forward, the whole game is just so-and-so was fucking so-and-so who was screwing over so-and-so who was twisting the back and your knife in your back.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts the first time that you got to this part of the game where it became like Game of Thrones, Metal Gear?
I just remember being so pissed that, I mean, it was just wait, are you kidding me? I mean, specifically about Liquid, when that reveal happens, I was just I think when I was younger, I didn't see it coming. So it was just are you kidding me? It's hard to say. It was so long ago. But it was interesting how it just kept happening. It wasn't just one time. It's it just kept happening. And then with the key, it was just fuck, again? And then it just keeps going.
It's like the SNL sketch, the what you say one, where the gunshot keeps
Oh
going
yeah.
What you say?
Isn't that is it Dear Sister?
Dear
Is that
Sister, yeah.
Yeah, the SNL sketch.
So I have a question about this Miller twist. Did this have impact on you guys?
Well, I didn't even know who the fuck Miller was the
Right.
first time I played this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I
Exactly.
mean. This is a nobody character who you have no.
I was like, blonde man is a blonde man. Could have got that twist a million times.
Yeah, was this a twist in its original? You know what I mean?
I think just the fact that I remember this feeling of just the fact that Liquid has been talking to you and working with you the whole time and
Yeah.
being a fucking dick this whole time was enough to kind of get me.
Okay.
Miller
fair.
at the time, obviously,
Yeah, he was
it
nobody.
didn't really mean anything to me. But
hero now, but-
you well, yeah, now they
Or
I mean,
the worst
honestly,
kind of
he-
villain.
Be the bad guy.
they played him like a damn fiddle, honestly.
Played
so
us like a
it's-
goddamn
it's-
fiddle.
I think Miller
A
played all of
goddamn
us like a goddamn fiddle, but we'll get to it.
Spoiler alert! I just started playing 5, and I played the first mission of Ground Zeroes, and hearing that line
love
again
it.
was just the best thing that ever happened to me. But I think the shock of just oh god, this guy's been Liquid the whole time, because I've been talking to Miller the whole game. It felt like a betrayal in high order.
I mean,
Yeah, I
felt,
can see that.
Sorry. I felt
no,
more
go for
betrayed
it.
by Naomi. That he was
Yeah.
calling out and
Yeah.
saying Naomi was being shady, and I was just whoa, really? Because that I didn't see coming.
That turtleneck, though.
Yeah,
Anybody who
exactly.
wears a
That's so
turtleneck
trustworthy.
is
How
a
could
traitor.
you betray me with that turtleneck?
Traitors wear turtlenecks.
I can agree with that, because I wasn't expecting it to actually be her betraying. I thought something was gonna be oh, it's somebody playing a trick, but no, they were both actually shiesty pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Do you guys think that the reveal is going to impact us less when Naomi doesn't have a fake British accent in the Twin Snakes?
Maybe not ever.
What they do? They just
So to match
Yeah.
her voice in MGS4 where she doesn't have a British accent, when they re-recorded, they just had her not do it.
that seems weird.
Oh.
Yeah, also Mei Ling does not have her Chinese.
They were just no
Accent.
accents anymore.
Well, which makes sense because Mei Ling says she was born in the US.
That's true.
So she shouldn't have an accent.
That's true.
So I think it's the original voice actor but just not doing an accent.
The Naomi looks like she's playing a part, right?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange. but
Whatever.
Anyway, we'll get to it when we cover Twin Snakes. Let's talk about Raven. So we get to the bottom of this
I
elevator.
love this guy.
Yeah, this is great.
Fucking love
This is
Vulcan Raven.
arguably mechanically the best boss fight in this whole game.
Yeah.
Because it's the only boss fight in the game where you're actually using the verbs in which the game has been teaching you to get better.
Yeah.
Like you're actually sneaking
Yeah.
and placing traps and
Right.
using the game.
Shit's cool.
But yeah, so we fight Vulcan Raven, who you guys might remember is the fellow with the tattoo on his forehead from the tank.
Love him.
He kind of goes quiet for a long time.
Yeah, he goes off the radar
Yeah.
for quite a bit.
Well, remember, he did call Liquid on that flip phone.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. He was like, "Fit it, where you at?" The whole city behind me. But he hit him with the boost. But yeah, this kind of feels like the Eddie fight from Silent Hill 2 a little bit. We're kind of like dodging things and kind of hiding behind stuff. But yeah, I don't know. The only thing I want to put here before we kind of bring it amongst the group, Snake saying "must have been a tight fit for a big boy like you" in reference to the tank brought the biggest smile to my face.
Yeah, it's a good line.
But yeah, let's talk about it. Sam, what were your takeaways? What was Vulcan Raven to you in 2019?
In 2019, well, I think my favorite thing in this video game, if I'm going to be honest, is they're having this like back and forth, and Raven brings up, he asks Snake if he knows the World Eskimo Indian Olympics, and
Snake of course knows.
Snake says, "Yeah," and he says, "You must be a real threat in the muck tuck eating contest." And without missing a fucking beat, Raven goes, "Yes, you are right." But there's another event that I excel at. Like, he doesn't even like deny it. He's just like, "Yes, you are right." But also, like, it's my favorite. I fucking love Vulcan Raven. I just want to give the man a hug. Like, he just seems like if he wasn't a terrorist, I feel like he'd be a pretty chill dude to just hang out with.
I want Vulcan Raven to be like in WWE,
Oh, he'd fit in.
like as
God.
himself.
He would fit in.
Yeah, he would. They could probably repackage Braun Strowman to be Vulcan Raven.
I don't know what that is. It's a Braun Strowman.
It's fine. He flipped over a truck and played a upright bass as a guitar.
Vulcan
one
Oh,
time.
my.
He's pretty
Play
cool.
upright.
Is that like
bass
those
flip
three-headed
truck.
cows from Fallout?
Brahmin? Yeah, you're right.
Brahmin, yeah,
I didn't
Brahmin.
even think about
Jesus.
that.
You are
Isaac,
correct.
did you have difficulty with this fella this time around, or did you find it to be easier?
It was okay.
Good point. You make a good point, Isaac.
Can I also bring up really quick before we get into
Of
like
course.
the battle
Yeah,
itself?
yeah.
Can we also bring up how Raven's like head tattoo flies off his head and paralyzes Snake to put the mark of death on him?
That might be the sickest
That was
shit I'd
so
ever seen in a
cool.
video
Yeah,
game up
that
until
was
that
so
point.
It was fucking dope. But like the only
Is it
like
metal? It's metal.
It's fucking metal as shit. It's the only supernatural stuff that happened in this game up to this point is Psycho Manus, right? And
Yeah.
like
And
then
Naomi's
you just
awesome
have like
accent.
And all the ghosts.
yeah. And all the ghosts, but those are optional, so you never really know if they're there or not if you're not paying attention. But like he says that the tank battle was not a true battle and that the Ravens were testing him and they found that he was a true warrior, and then his tattoo flashes, the Raven flies off of his head, Snake is like, "I can't move." And then a Raven lands on his shoulder and says that Snake has the mark of death on him, that the Ravens have marked him for death. And like, if that's not the greatest scene in modern history, I don't know what the fuck is, honestly.
I want to be able to do
Wow,
that at a
big
meeting
words.
at work.
just summon
I just want to like
summon a
somebody
Corona.
walks into the meeting and then my Raven sits on their shoulder. Like I
Your
can't
Raven.
move, and I'm just like, look, we have to talk about what we're having
Just,
for
I just
lunch
want-
today.
Yeah. I just want to throw this out there on Metal Gear Mondays on Instagram. I just posted a clip of Snake saying, "You must be a real threat in the muck duck eating contest," and Raven saying, "Yes, you are right," with the hashtags thick, heckin' chonker, and big boy.
Hell
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
Check that out.
Live Instagram commentary.
It's crazy.
It's great.
What time?
But yeah, so Isaac, this battle.
It was okay. I mean,
Wow.
you just get the stinger and you follow this man around.
With a stinger. God, you're an aggressive boy.
You were playing on hard mode, dude.
I was
Yeah.
in it to win it.
Isaac's like,
Yeah.
I
So
threw on
one
that
of the-
body armor and I punched him to death.
That's a strat. No, that's a strat though, because like at the beginning, a lot of like what I did was I used the Nikita to get him when he started like jogging around.
Yeah.
I would place C4 on the ground and blow him up and like kite him. But Isaac has done another strategy, which is follow him around and just like pop him with stingers, just like face down
that's
the
right.
Gatling gun.
I'm the predator.
Go ahead and clip that clip and save it into your MP3 players, everybody. I'm the
I
predator.
think that might be my new, like, if somebody texts me, I'm the predator.
Jesus, go watch Abducted in Plain Sight on Netflix.
Oh,
Oh
God.
no.
That sounds
yeah,
scary.
That's crazy. Alice, tell us about the first time that you danced with the devil in the pale moonlight.
Ooh.
It was
Like
a
that.
Tuesday.
Well, I was not as brazen as Isaac. I definitely.
Isaac skipped the
Don't worry.
foreplay and just dove in.
Yeah, seriously. I definitely utilized Claymores.
Shove a stinger up
and,
your ass.
And Nikita when I fought him, and I do remember. I feel like it was pretty hard for me the first time. The first couple times I played, just near the end, because he goes in berserk mode, and after that it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
you're fucked. If you
Yeah.
make any wrong moves, yeah.
Not Isaac, apparently.
No, don't get me wrong. He's fast for his size, for a hefty fella. You know,
Wow.
Big boy.
For a
He can-
hefty fella.
Isaac.
a big boy, if you will. Yeah.
For a hefty fella carrying a minivan on his back.
Isaac
A heck and
is in rare
chonker.
form tonight.
He can. I'm a raven.
Yes, that's crazy. Let's. I wanna real quick before we get to James and talk about what I did to take this fella on. I do want to very quickly, while we've got the time for it, I want to read the instruction manual description for
here we go.
Raven.
Yes,
instruction
giant and
manual.
shaman himself.
Yeah. So give
Yeah.
me 1 second. It's fucking 50 pages in for some reason.
Oh, here he comes.
Vulcan Raven, he's a giant shaman with strong spiritual powers, blessed with a powerful body which is resistant to extreme cold.
Was this manual written by a fucking
Wow.
lover? What?
Okay,
He's got a
the word
powerful
power
body.
appears way too many times. Two, the fact that they don't comment on the minigun and the gigantic barrel of
Yeah.
ammo on his back blows my mind.
Gotta stay prepped.
And yeah, I don't know. C, there's no mention of the tattoos covering his entire body. There's just there's so many questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, James, how did?
Also,
well-
I think you mean shaman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sir.
I say shaman. Is that wrong?
Didn't
No, shaman.
shaman's
Shaman
right.
is correct.
Shaman's
Just Campbell says shaman at
Oh,
the
yeah.
beginning. and
Shaman-
it's just the most
Campbell's a
perfect
big-
thing.
Campbell's
Dumb
trying to throw some
moron.
shade and some shame.
punch
Whoa.
Campbell in his
He's
teeth.
going for the extra wordplay. But so
Yeah.
James, before you jump in, I do really, really quickly want to it dawned on me we did not explain what the fuck's going on here. So Raven corners Snake in this big warehouse filled with boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, we jump straight to
Yeah.
the raven flies off
Yeah.
of his head, and we're in.
Yeah, and that happened.
Yeah.
That happens. But Raven just says they got to decide fight to the death style, who the better guy is.
Yeah, it's weird that all of these villains have this complex where they're like, I must prove to be the better warrior by fighting you to death. It's
Yeah.
very strange.
Well, then Snake dives in, which is weird. He's not been very passive. He's not been what's the word I'm looking for here?
Sassy.
No,
He's
just
been sassy.
like a pacifist.
Yeah,
Snake hasn't been
pacifistic,
anti-violence
yeah.
until
Oh.
this moment.
yeah.
He doesn't want to fight this
Yeah,
guy.
and Snake's violence isn't a sport, dog.
Yeah.
And he just gets very kind of, I don't know. He's
weird.
hey, I'm not going to engage in this with you.
Yeah.
I'm better than this. And Raven's
Weird flex for a
"Fuck
guy
yeah,
that
you are."
fist fought his friend in a previous game to the
Yeah,
death in a
minefield.
minefield. Hey, to each their own.
But
Snake.
essentially, what ends up happening is we are imagine it kind of feels like a final exam for the first area of the game.
Yeah.
Imagine you're running around these giant shipping containers, except instead of a bunch of dudes dressed in white that are stupid, you've got a literal tank of a human. And that's kind of it.
That's pretty much it.
So anyway,
Yeah.
James, carry on.
Drop
How
some
did
C4,
how
use
did
the
this-
Nikita, nothing too different from what Sam was doing. Bada boom, bada bing, he's dead.
Dope.
See.
Yeah,
We
all
lay
agree.
out the Claymores, C4s.
Claymores and
Blow the boy
C4 is
up.
where it's at.
All the bombs.
It's fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
This is-
grenades,
This
too.
is one of the more fun ones.
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah,
like I was
grenades.
playing a game.
Well, hey, you're playing a game. I love the damage that the containers take. So
Yeah.
as
Oh,
the fight
yes.
goes
Yes.
on, the containers
Yeah.
rip open and
It's pretty
explode
cool.
and stuff. It's not.
You don't.
It's not scripted, is it? Is it based on where he hits?
I don't know because his pattern. He doesn't
afraid
seem
to
to have
say.
any particular pattern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some of them will fall over.
I know.
and
And
block
it's
paths.
you don't see environment destruction in many games from 1998, do you?
Yeah, not that I can think
Yeah,
of.
Yeah.
not really.
Fuck off, Battlefield.
But yeah. Yeah, I want to echo all you guys. I think I do want to mention. So towards the end of the fight, he does say to Snake, "You are a snake that is not born from nature," and then says that he's from another world where Raven does not wish to go.
I love
And I was
that.
like,
Like,
that's
who's this
interesting.
fucking multi-dimensional time traveler man that we're fighting? Tell me more about you,
I
Vulcan.
want a game about Vulcan Raven.
Fuck, yes, we do.
Metal Gear Raven.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. No, Metal Gear. That's dope as shit.
What a title. Hey, Jeff Keighley, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
tell your boy
punk ass.
Kanye and your other boy Kojima that we need
Help.
this.
Yeah.
More Raven.
But yeah, so essentially Raven, he falls to your hand, and then he explicitly tells you finally that Decoy Octopus was the DARPA chief, and this is where we see Decoy Octopus's face.
Yeah.
Which I had never realized ever, out of all the times that I played this game, that we see this guy.
Yeah. He's a guy.
He kind of
Yeah.
looks like Michael Morbius from Spider-Man,
Yeah, the
the
vampire man.
animated series.
Deep cut.
Like with the weird nose. Yeah.
Well, so the weird thing is Raven takes what appears to be like a cloth mask of a black man's face, like off of Decoy's head.
Yep. Like it's a Scooby-Doo villain.
Like it's very effortless, and so all I'm thinking is like, did Snake not realize that this man's wearing like some
Halloween
fucking
mask.
cheesecloth,
Yeah.
like over his face?
Snake's headband sometimes just falls over his eyes a little bit and he can't see well enough, so
Yeah,
Might
Maybe
have
it
just
was
been that.
more like the octo technology like they had in 4.
Oh.
That kind of
That makes
Four,
sense.
Yeah.
Maybe.
yeah,
It's a stretch.
I could see
They
that.
didn't know
Oh, I
back
like
then.
that. I like that.
they didn't know. It was a
Yeah,
different
back
time.
then. It was a different time.
Their faces
My
were
favorite part
pixels.
about this like nobody gives a shit.
I do like that.
My favorite
Raven
thing
is-
about
Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
no, go ahead. Sorry, no, go ahead. It was gonna shepherd us on, so finish here.
I do like that Raven is talking as chill as he can while being devoured by hundreds of raids.
Yes,
this was alarming
so
to me.
metal.
That was
He's just so chill
brutal.
about
He's
it.
very calm. It's like, this is my life.
He brings up that a lot that he's gonna be watching Snake from the other side. Like it's like I'm gonna be watching you. I'm gonna be watching you. I'll be watching you. It's like he's Sting or something like that. Like it's like
I want
I
to
don't
see
know,
like
man.
post credits of MGS4, just like a dead old Snake Force ghost next to Vulcan Raven's Force ghost watching Sonny cook eggs.
Oh, no.
Vulcan Ravens with sorrow.
Oh god, yeah, it's Vulcan Raven, the Sorrow, the Boss, Ocelot, and Old Snake, just like Force Ghost style.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and then you get this like really cool like they do the voiceover of the end of their conversation, but you get this whole cool guys don't look at explosions, Snake walking away from Raven being devoured by
yeah.
ravens. Yeah. And there's like he turns around and there is nothing left. There's no bones. There's no sinew.
There's some
There's
blood.
no nothing. Just
hungry.
just some blood. There's
Gotta eat.
little bit of blood, not like a whole human's body worth of blood, like a tiny like a pool, and
Little piddle.
his weapon is there, a little piddle of blood. Like
That was
whoa,
like
dude.
such an epic shot. Like a choice of
Yeah.
how to like cinematically treat that ending. I totally forgot about that. Thank you, Sam. That was like so cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I remember back then thinking just like, whoa. Because it was all voiceover overlaying him walking away. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this so great. It's a shame about the rest of it.
But yeah, so Naomi gets like officially completely outed at this point. I will say during the codec conversation with Colonel, he does drop a line like, if she's one of their spies, we're in big trouble. And he does refer to a they quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
It was the Patriots, y'all. It was the New England Patriots.
Good.
But then we enter the Metal Gear Rex hangar.
Boston James.
And we can talk about the shitty nightmare room filled with traps really quickly if you guys want. It's just a lot of spanking.
I just need to mention just one comment about this room. I saw that there were cameras in here, so I was so focused on them that I walked forward and I heard the click and I just froze. And it was the first time I've ever been. It's the first time in any of my playthroughs that I've actually fallen in one of those traps, and I was
time.
like, it was like click click, and then I was just like, oh shit, and then I just died. I was like, oh,
then I
okay.
just died.
That's how this is gonna be.
Like a fucking Looney Tunes.
Man, I can't wait till we talk
That's
about
great.
this room in Twin Snakes. That's gonna be great.
Oh Jesus. But yeah, so this room kind of sucks. It's literally like go back 10 minutes to us talking about the spanking cameras, and it's like imagine a whole room made out of
Pretty
that.
much.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
toss
sense
the chaff
fortress
and run
from
for your-
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
Oh god.
Kind
Yeah,
of
toss the
gross,
chaff
it
and
says.
run for your fucking life.
Pretty much. There's not really anything to find here. Like I know that there's a little bit of exploration that gets opened up where it's like, hey, some nooks and crannies, but it's literally just like some ammo. So like, I didn't think it was particularly worth it.
There's a very enticing ration in between the two traps. I will tell you that much.
You just got to run
I
fast.
risked it. Yeah.
No risk it, no biscuit. You know what they say?
But then we're revealed to Metal Gear Rex is revealed to us. It's pretty cool. I do like this
It's pretty awesome.
this hallway walk to the big reveal in and of itself.
The big boy.
We had a listener comment in through Twitter. I just want to make mention. He said his wife was watching him play Metal Gear Solid, and he got to this point, and she literally turns and looks at him and goes, "Is that it?"
Oh god.
And that's kind of how I felt this time, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I remembered it like so
I
much more
felt-
and then I saw it and I was like, oh,
It was probably really cool in '98,
Yeah.
yeah.
but even I was
Yeah.
like,
So cool.
that's a mech. I've seen a few.
Last a Mac.
Jesus. But yeah, I mean, the room is just Metal Gear, so you essentially get to climb all over the Metal Gear.
That's cool.
The one thing that was kind of dumb about it,
It's like
I felt, was like there are multi-levels in the helipad, but like
Yeah.
for this one, they're all separated by loading screens.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's
It
weird.
just made me think, like, what if this was like a Shadow of the Colossus style, like climbing this? That'd be cool. I don't know what game
would
that
be
would fit
really
into,
cool.
but like, I just want to climb a Metal Gear. You know what I mean?
We could have done it with a 5.
Yeah,
It'd be like a grappling hook gun or
They
something.
didn't care about us in 5.
Yeah. Dad forgot about us. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a lot like Hideo Kojima leaving the car running with the garage door closed.
Wow, yeah.
Oh god.
But I'm just going to leave that there. We'll come back to that
Big
later.
fan. I love it.
No comment.
Holy shit. Dude.
Do like it though.
Anyway.
Sorry about that. Something to look forward to in 93 episodes.
In the future,
Yikes.
the future past. That's where we are.
In the days of future
We
past.
are the X-Men.
Climbing Rex is cool. Moving on.
I thought you said Connie Rex, and I was
Yeah.
like, who the
You
fuck
like
is
that?
Connie Rex? Is that his wife?
I
Connie
like
Rex.
climbing up Rex. Did you not
Really?
like that, Alice?
I don't know. I really feel
What was
like
there to not like about it?
I thought it was so boring.
Just the ladders.
It is
Well,
boring.
and that you have to do it again a couple times kind of gets
Oh,
boring.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time it's like really cool. I think repeat times it loses its luster a little bit.
I do also like that they're like, here's the big bad, here's the ultimate bad guy.
Yeah.
Climb all over his sleeping body.
Touch him.
Like
It's
what?
like a
Touching his
it's like a nuclear armed children's play
Whoa.
place.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Like, can you imagine if they're like, here's Liquid, he's sleeping. Climb all
Step
over
on
his body.
I'm
like,
surprised they didn't
what?
do that, honestly.
I
For
honestly,
how fucking
depending on the
shirtless that
person,
man's gonna end up, I'm surprised that they didn't do that.
yeah, it's like
Put a
climb, I'm
fucking
sure.
shirt on
I'm
Liquid.
sure if you told somebody to climb all over Liquid's body, I'm sure somebody would.
I would probably
raise
do
their
it.
hands.
Or do people find him
Ew.
like a
Yeah,
sex
probably.
symbol? Is that thing?
Do they find him like a sex symbol?
He
Yeah,
looks like
buried in sand in
Fabio.
Egypt, yes. He does look like
Climb all over me, Snake.
Ew! Oh, God. No.
Do your worst, Snake.
Wow, you're good at
He's
that.
like
Christ.
too buff.
I'm
Hold on, excuse
sleeping
me,
now.
excuse
Climb all
you.
over my
Too
body.
buff?
You
Is
hear
that
that,
a thing?
Isaac? He's too buff.
He's too buff.
Too buff.
Isaac, you gotta walk it back, son.
He was.
Yeah, quit rubbing your abs, Isaac. He's too buff.
I'm rubbing him right now.
All right. We got a lot to cover, even though
Handsome
we're gonna
glasses.
live in this room
Sorry.
for a very, very long time. So let me tear through this.
Tear through it right
Yeah, we're
through
digging
those.
in. So essentially, they talk about how the railgun makes missile launches a thing that can be done without fuel, and so there's no detectable trace. And they, being Snake, gets to the top of the room. There's a little crow's nest. We got Ocelot. And we got Liquid, just kind of dumping plot information at each other.
Yeah.
a scene like
on purpose. I felt
yeah, like they know Snake's there,
Right.
So I think they're totally doing this on purpose.
Just let them know.
because he's
Give me some
apparently
inside deets,
because he's
Snake.
apparently really bad at sneaking.
Yeah, heads up, this series has never made Snake out to be a good sneaker. He's always being made fun of.
More of a
so-
loafer, really.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a loafer than a
Oh
sneaker.
wow, wow!
Pew, pew.
But essentially, they talk
Like
about
we're better sneakers than Snake. He runs up to go hide from these people. And by the way, this scene is even better in Twin Snakes because he does like a weird like kick flip, like bicycle flip
of course
over the door.
animation.
But
Kicking that
yeah,
flip.
of course. Yep. But he hides on the other side of the door to listen to them, and there's just a fucking camera looking at him,
Yeah.
and
Well-
like he doesn't even notice the camera.
Yeah, he's real dumb. But essentially, they revealed that the DARPA chief was being bribed. I think they said by the Pentagon, I believe. And then they talk about how Baker was really big into nuclear deterrence theory, which go see our episodes on Peace Walker about that. Liquid decides that they're going to launch a nuke not at a population center, but at a secret black site nuclear test facility, just to have to make the U.S. kind of squirm to cover shit up, and also to do to blow a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah, cool plan.
He does.
Lopno China.
He does mention Foxdie by name. I think for the first time. Is this the first time in the game?
It was the first time I heard it. I think,
The
right?
first time I remember hearing it, he talks about how he wants the cure thrown into the demands.
Yeah, and we do hear about
Of-
Gerlukovich. We mentioned him last episode, but Sergei Gerlukovich comes back up in 2 in a big bad way.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then there's
And he goes all the way down.
Yeah, there's a very good mention here too, by the way, of the fact that Psycho Manus is dead means that the genome soldier's brainwashing is no longer working, which I think was a plot detail that I hadn't really thought of before.
Yeah.
So the genome soldiers didn't necessarily side with Liquid.
Right.
It's kind of like they
He
were
was
all
just
brainwashed,
Yeah. That's interesting.
which I had completely forgotten about.
Does that ever come back up?
I don't.
I don't
I mean,
think
we're at
so.
the end of the game, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I meant like more so like later in the.
I don't think
No.
so.
Well, I'm glad. I hope they went on to live happy lives. You know.
Yeah, I hope those boys are okay. Well, they're all like stormtroopers. Like
Right.
they're clones of Big Boss.
Right.
So it's like we got a bunch of Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalkers walking around.
That's great.
Or excuse me, Jango Fett walking around. But yeah,
Like I hate the fact. Like my favorite thing about it is that they're clones of Big Boss, but they're all shit except for those 4 sweet boys in the elevators.
yeah, those the good goods. Yeah, they talk about Big Boss's dream, I think, kind of for the first time here, which is this outer heaven mention, which is a throwback to the original games.
Right.
Meryl, at this point, they talk about how she's still alive. For me, did anybody who didn't save Meryl, was the dialogue different here?
I saved Meryl.
We all saved Meryl.
Yeah, I think we all did.
We all have like a
I
savior
did.
We all
complex.
saved Meryl.
Whoa!
Oh damn!
There it is.
Whoa. It's because of Otacon.
It is.
The torture was going on, and Alice just like let it ring out immediately. She's like, "No, I'm good."
It's true. Only because I knew that if I went with Otacon, I could get stealth. So I did it.
I feel
Yeah.
like the soft-boiled boy giving you stealth camo is the greatest like commentary on him as a human.
I love my favorite thing about that is that like it feels like the way that he gives it to you, it feels like Snake or Otacon didn't actually want to give it to Snake, but Snake kind of bullied him into giving it to him.
Yeah, give to me, bitch. And it's just like, oh no.
So cute.
Okay.
And then
So you don't need it anymore? Give it to me then.
yeah, hey, give me your
Whoa.
lunch money.
So wait, so is the dialogue different here?
I don't
I
think we
don't
know.
remember.
I don't think so. So spoiler alert, I did not save Meryl in Twin Snakes, and the dialogue is not different. So I don't
very
know if that
interesting.
means anything.
The last part of this conversation that I think is the most important is this quite literal like Elmer Fudd Bugs Bunny situation that happens.
Okay.
Where like Liquid and Ocelot are just like, we sure don't need those keys to activate Metal Gear. And Snake's
Yeah.
like, I gotta put those keys in there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we definitely just activated Metal Gear. And Snake's like, I gotta put those keys in there. And they're like, we're gonna leave now. And he's like, I gotta get in there and put those keys in there.
He's literally like a third grader.
I feel like the
Yeah, he's
entire
real dumb.
Don't now.
second disc was just like a huge troll.
Yes,
A little bit, yeah.
pretty much.
Seriously.
Super dumb. And then opens the. So Snake walks in, gets a fucking alert immediately because he's an idiot. And then Otacon's like, Otacon's like, I'll disable the gas, dumbass. And
It's so
that's that.
stupid because,
it's not,
like,
it's not the end of the world. We stick
he,
the
like,
card in once.
I think I died.
Well, no, not yet. No, not yet, because we have to go find it
You
in
can
the
stick in the
drainage
room
ditch.
temp,
Remember?
I thought.
No, not until after you get it from the drainage ditch.
Oh, that's right. He gets kicked out of our hand. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah,
we have a listener response
Ocelot-
about this as well. So
Oh god, Ocelot shoots it out of his hand because they've been watching him on the monitor, but he waits until Snake's elbow is in view as to not rouse suspicion, and then goes, "Who's that?" and then shoots the card out of Snake's hand.
Classic fucking
And it
Ocelot
lands-
move.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's fucking.
so we have to go get the card. So that actually kind of gives us a branching path. The branching path that I wanted to ask you guys about is every time I go get the card, I immediately bring it back up and stick it in for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you guys do
Yeah,
that last?
You can't. You have to do them in order.
Oh, you do have to do them. in
You have
order.
to go from left to right.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a possibility for you to save that one for last.
Yeah, no. Otacon brings it up. I think that you have to do it from left to right.
Okay, cool. This part is made a little less not tedious in Twin Snakes, which we'll talk about. But besides that, I feel like we could probably hand wave a lot of this stuff pretty fucking quickly.
You can find the card if you equip the mine detector. It shows up as a red dot on the radar.
Yeah, you also have to be careful though because I think you can still pick up the bomb, right? This
Yeah.
one.
You can pick up a bomb, and then I think there are certain conditions that if you meet, it will be eaten by a rat,
Yeah,
and you have to kill the rat.
yeah, that's what the response is actually for. Here towards the end, and we can talk about that. But real quick, I think we've covered most of the stuff that happens kind of interstitially between. I do think what I want to do is we're going to talk about how you handle the card situation, and then we'll just instead of interweaving these because I think it's going to be a little, I don't know, just like harder to follow. I just want to say how you change the card. And then we'll talk about what happens between you changing the card, and then we'll just dive into the final fight.
Okay.
So the way that you change the card, it's super easy. You have to have a cold one and you have to have a hot one. I was constantly worried that like when you heat the card up in the blast furnace, that it would then cool down crossing
By the
through
time you got back.
Raven's
Yeah.
area. But I don't know if that's the case.
It can.
I think you have to wait for.
I-
it can.
It
happen?
can. I think if you linger for too long, it will change.
Okay.
I remember I had to
But
go
yeah, so
back.
essentially, yeah.
Wow.
You lingered?
It's
I lingered
yeah,
too
you get the
long. I had
cold
to go
one,
back.
you
I
get-
was pissed.
Oh, no.
I hate this part of the game so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to go get the hot one, the card with hot questions and even hotter wings, and
Wow. Wow.
Plugging other shows on this show now.
I fucking love that show.
Yeah.
So good.
But so essentially, the only two zones we've been to on this disc is
Yeah.
where you go
Isn't
back.
that great?
Yeah.
This is a great disc. this dude's really pumping
It's
it
like,
in.
wow. Look at these really obviously intentional rooms that are clearly lower and higher temperature
Yeah,
than
right.
anywhere else you've been.
Hot
Yeah.
I wonder.
Cold
So,
room.
so you have to go to cold room, stick it in, then hot room, stick it in, and then you're good.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Please never,
Yeah, the
please
visuals
never,
there.
please never say stick it in again.
Sorry.
Thank
So
you.
once you get the icy hot, ready to rock, things happen. But before then,
Oh God, what are you
Question.
what are you fucking
Yeah,
sticking it in
go
with?
ahead.
With icy hot, that shit burns.
and then it's cool.
what did you
Don't
guys-
stick it in with icy hot.
What did you guys do to pass the time when you were waiting for the card to change in each of the places? Do you remember?
If I'm being real, when this game came out, probably masturbate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you just put like a long beep
Whoa,
right here?
whoa,
Totally.
whoa! I meant
Like, I start
snake
talking, it's just a
in the
long
game. I meant like in
I bet
the
you
game.
regret asking that.
Like I remember.
I didn't do anything.
I remember I would like
Squatting?
stinger missile birds or rats in the furnace
Oh my
room.
god.
Holy crap.
Whoa.
Because I was
You're
so
a
bored. Like you had to
sadist.
wait.
You
You had to
can't-
wait
you
for
can't-
so fucking long. I was bored
That
and like
is
needing
true.
to do something. So I feel like I was just like doing shit
I
to
just-
kill the time.
And the birds.
And
I
the
guess
bird.
I just took out my phone and looked at Reddit. Honestly. That's the other thing too. If you kill any of the ravens, Raven
Oh,
will be
yeah.
like, when you meet him, he's like, "How dare you kill my
I
friends?
did that.
You're an asshole."
I sniped him. Definitely sniped him.
Poor things.
Anyway.
I really like ravens and corvids. I have one on my arm. It's great.
Yeah, it's very good. I also love the subtle Raven cameo in MGS2.
Oh yeah.
That again at some point in the future. But yeah, so let's talk about the in-between stuff. So we already talked about you get ice card, hot card. So in the midst of kind of the in-between, there's some codec moments to kind of break up the monotony. One of them is like the Bookhouse Boys decide to put Naomi under arrest. That joke's only going to work for like 2 people, and thankfully Alice is here, so I'm glad that Alice got the joke. But the Bookhouse Boys put Naomi under arrest.
What does that mean?
It's from Twin Peaks.
Peaks.
It's just like a neighborhood watch of a bunch of good.
I started watching Twin Peaks on Netflix, and that really hit me.
What
in a
year
good
what
spot.
year did that show come out? Was that was like
89.
1990.
Yeah, 89 and 90.
89
Damn.
or 90.
for some reason I thought it was later than that.
I'm waving my finger down my cheek.
Kojima?
And then the essentially what ends up happening is like Naomi then also starts to call us kind of on the sly. And she tells us about her story about her and her brother.
Yeah.
So she talks about being an orphan in the 80s in Rhodesia. She talks about how she was saved by somebody, how that somebody was Frank Yeager.
Frank?
Yeager means hunter in German, so it's some wordplay going on. Naomi Hunter, get it? And Gray Fox is Ninja, who is her brother. Then she talks about how Big Boss was there with Frank.
Yeah.
Or as she puts it, he was there.
Big Boss being a fucking hero.
They talk about Africa, and like 100%,
I'm
you
so
guys,
pissed.
this would have been great for Metal Gear Solid 5.
This is like
it was never included in Metal Gear Solid 5.
when this hit again, because I'm like somehow playing these games in chronological order. This like my face just fell, and I was like, "Why wasn't this the game that I just played?
Yeah,
How much fun would that have been?"
yeah.
Bullshit.
So the timelines match up perfectly.
They sure do.
But yeah, so 100%. This is retconned as fuck. I feel Naomi definitely mentions that Dr. Clark was her other sibling or something. And I'm like, that's not real.
No.
Paramedic isn't your sibling. This gets retconned out of existence.
Whoa, I did not remember that.
Yeah. And Naomi also talks about how Fox Die works, and she talks about the heart stuff. So
yeah.
And
Miller brings it up initially, and then Snake asks about it when she
Miller's
calls
real
him.
anxious about that Fox die.
Oh yeah, he's like,
really
did anybody tell you about Fox Die? But Naomi talking about how she did originally program Fox Die to kill Snake. She does talk about how she also kind of stepped on the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I feel like all this conversation between Naomi and Snake essentially becomes like the entire main story of MGS4, which is like Snake living with Fox Die is pretty much that whole game. So yeah, I don't know. Snake reasonably so feels super pissed because of all these double crossings that are happening. And then just to put a cherry on top, when you get all the keys, it actually turns on Metal Gear.
What?
Snake is so confused.
I was so pissed.
I disarmed it.
He's like, I'm so dumb. What happened? It's super dumb.
Why do we like these fucking games?
Yeah, why do you like Snake? He's
You're
real
reminding
dumb.
me like how much I was pissed for all of Disc 2. Like you're getting fucked over. On top of it, it's like a pain in the ass to get fucked over again and again and again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
they
like-
make you work to get trolled.
I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that felt this way. I feel way better. I thought this was going to go very poorly with me having had a bad time on Disc 2.
No, I feel like this is exactly what happened in season 1 of this show.
Yeah.
It's like the real season 1. It's like, man, this game's great. And then we get to the end and we're all just like, fuck this game.
Fuck this game.
Oh my god!
It needs to go into a trash can.
That was
just
a really
never
you sounded like you were
stops.
from Boston there for a second. You're so exhausted. I'm so tired of this fucking game. Oh my god.
Bobby, I'm so exhausted.
I just wish they would have broken it up more with something fun, so it wasn't just like you're getting
It's like hard cut to Snake in a
every-
fucking like karaoke bar in South Korea, and it's just like, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Just
But yeah, so
never
as
ends.
we find out that DARPA chief couldn't have his mind read, and that Ocelot accidentally killed him. So Liquid and company were like, "Fuck, we're doomed."
Another classic
And then
Ocelot
Liquid
move.
was like, "Wait a minute, my brother's a real dum dum. I got a plan." And then we discover that Fox Die actually killed Decoy and Baker. So there is that.
Yeah.
And then Colonel Campbell calls with the saddest news of all.
Oh no.
Miller was found dead in his home.
Which doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Which, like, rest in peace, Kazuhira Miller. This game was your undoing. Whoa.
I cared.
Why?
His wife cared.
Because Miller's a
Attica-
fucking, Miller has one limb and no eyes at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Miller's my boy.
Yeah, they killed him with a fucking crescent
James-
wrench and a pillow. Like,
Had a lot of pain.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the order that you play this game in, James, is that you have zero sympathy for Otacon and every sympathy for Master Miller. For all intents and
So true.
purposes,
That
at
is
the
the
time
best
this
way
game
to frame
released,
so true.
I will remain silent.
for like at the time of the game's release, for all intents and purposes, this guy was a fucking bit character until
Yeah.
he revealed himself as Liquid. You have these really emotional reactions for
Like,
Master
damn, I
McDonald
fought
Miller.
alongside him for so many years.
you mean Benedict Kazuhira?
Benedict Kazuhira
Master
Miller.
Miller.
Benedict, I'm not sure if I can trust him, Kazuhira Miller. But I like his glasses.
Benedict.
Yeah.
So I
Benedict,
guess
I'm
he can stick
not
around
sure
for
I
a
can-
while.
Kazuhira, I have to keep you
Benedict.
in eyesight, Miller.
Motherfucker.
Kazuhira, where
I
the
don't-
fuck did
I
the
don't
name
feel
McDonald
anything.
come from, Miller?
Yeah, what the fuck? Can we talk about the McDonald? Where did that
Where
come
did the
from?
McDonald thing come from?
Oh, you know
Who
where it
fucking
came
knows?
Came from a farm, E-I-E-I-O, am I right?
from. Yeah. Or worse.
Or worse. What's
Be
worse
like-
than a farm?
Like,
Al?
Corporate
Ronald McDonald, like Kojima just fucking eating McDonald's all the time.
I want to see.
Ronald McDonald had a farm. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Lolly, lolly, lo.
This went to a strange place.
And on this farm, he had a snake. Lale, lule, lo.
Oh my
With a
god,
hiss,
that was
hiss
so
here,
Gear
good.
hiss,
here
hiss
and a
there.
Metal Gear there.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Now I want Metal Gear Solid corporate espionage action.
Yeah, right?
No.
Snake, we found the McNugget factory.
Jesus.
But yeah, so and then shirtless Liquid runs past the door.
Why is he
Of
not
course he
wearing
does.
clothes?
Because he's a
Liquid-
slut. He's such a slut.
You know what should have
Climb
been
all
here?
over me, Snake. I've lost my shirt.
What should have been here is just like when he runs past, we should have heard like a like echoing into the distance. I would have died like an Amadeus Mozart laugh, just like
yeah.
echoing out.
I wonder like what was going through Kojima's mind where he was just like, let's make this dude shirtless all the time. Like he
Kojima's
just
like get them nips out.
exactly like he wanted him.
We
He made
know
a conscious decision
exactly.
to make him like showing his
Rex
man
out,
body.
pecs out.
Rex out, Pex out. Fuck off.
Gotta show them abs. Am I right?
Oh my god! I knew Isaac was gonna say something.
Isaac, is this on your list of
no.
Metal Gear cleavage?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, I don't like how you said that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So Liquid and Snake have their little powwow on the catwalk. Liquid talks about how the Pentagon just used Snake as a Trojan horse for Foxdie and that they don't actually give a shit about him, which, like, I'm gonna be real. I think Liquid's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, his whole monologue is just Liquid being like, yeah, bro, you're a real fucking moron. Just
Everyone
so you're
wants you to
aware.
die. You're a real stoop.
You're real stupid.
And then Liquid talks a lot about Les Enfants Terribles, which is where we get a majority, I think, of sort of the canon of what this project was, besides 4.
Yeah.
Liquid seems to think
And
that
this is
he...
the-
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
This is the first mention of that in Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yeah, I think in
Yeah.
the series. This is the first mention
Les
of this.
Enfants Terribles. Yeah.
And so Liquid falsely, we will discover, thinks that he has received all of the recessive genes and that Snake has received all of the dominant ones.
Which, like, get the fucking chip off your shoulder, homie. Like, chill out. You know?
Yeah, so
Punk.
speaking about, I'm sorry for anybody. This is kind of like an anti-spoiler. I'm sorry for anybody who's playing 5 looking forward to the potential for seeing the sons of Big Boss as young men. You only see one of them, and it's not one that any of us like.
Yeah.
So
They talk about this project a fucking ton in 5, though, and just kind of expect you to, like, know it.
yeah. So, which I think for the record, Big Boss was aware they stole his sperm.
Yeah.
That becomes pretty evident. But
Seems that way.
we'll talk way more about Laura once we get to 5 because all the cards will be on the table. Finally.
All the cards.
Finally. But yeah, then we get into the final fight with Rex. Liquid jumps in and pilots this motherfucker. Is there anything that I left out?
No, I don't think so. I will say, I like when they were trying to figure out what the fuck Naomi was doing, like they were talking like, could be, maybe, like they were trying to suss it out together. And it was kind of sweet. I liked it.
Oh yeah, it was good. Those brothers being good boys.
Brothers.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, but yeah, Metal Gear rises from the ground and it's badass.
yeah, it's actually a really cool fight. The weird reveal with the ninja happens midway through the fight. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
It's after you
Cool.
shoot
So we-
the disc, the radi.
Yeah,
What is it called?
the radome.
The radome.
Radome.
I love that word. That word is like cellar door for me. I
Yeah.
hear radome and I'm like,
Ooh.
ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cellar door?
Jesus.
Learning a lot.
It's a Donnie Darko
Isaac,
What?
thing.
Isaac picking up on the real.
Come
the
on,
real
Isaac.
questions. Cellar door.
Cellar
Donnie Darko.
Did you say cellar door?
Did you say nerds? Alice,
Did you
can you
say
tell us about the
cellar
first
door?
time that young Allis Chang took on a Metal Gear?
Definitely
Ain't
died
no
a lot the
thing.
second time. I basically have the middle part with the ninja memorized because you can't skip it. So I know that
that's
part by
right.
heart.
Ugh.
That's how many times I
You
died
can
the
skip
second
like
time.
the beginning of it.
Can we test
Yeah,
you?
I died
Maybe?
so much.
No.
Oh God.
Okay.
It's like, nah. It's so crazy. Yeah.
now in
I
front
feel
of
the
you, I
same
can
way
finally
because, like,
die
whoa.
Damn, dude. she's
after
getting deep.
Zanzibar. I was taken from the bat.
We're
So
we are not tools of the government.
real
Fighting
quick,
was the only thing I was good at.
Naomi and Gray Fox keep referring, I believe, in their voiceovers in this game to it as Zanzibar.
Yeah.
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 Again, we established early on that is a typo.
Yeah.
It should be Zanzibar land
they-
because Zanzibar is a real
Snake
country.
does it.
Yeah.
Snake does it in Twin Snakes too after the fight with him, but then in the
a real
Kodak
place, y'all.
conversation immediately following, they do say Zanzibar land. So I don't know what the fuck's going on in Twin Snakes. They're just playing Calvin Ball with
Yeah.
lore.
Good
in
Calvin
Twin
and Hobbes
Snakes.
reference, Sam. I appreciate that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Sam, can you tell us about this fight? What does this entail? And
I had a
how did you handle
goddamn
it?
time with this. Oh, I so for the first half of it, so you have to essentially throw chaff grenades so as to not blow up with these homing rockets that you get aced by every fucking time. But you throw chaps with the butt missing.
Throw some,
You throw chaff
some
grenades
assless
out.
chaps.
Yeah, throw some assless chaps at Metal Gear. Well, I mean,
They're
between his
probably liquid.
shirtlessness and, I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like Liquid would wear chaps and no shirt. Liquid is basically
Ocelot.
just Shawn Michaels.
I'd let Liquid
Oh.
take me to McDonald's on a date, I think.
Cute.
Just want you to know, Alessio said that, then bit his lip and like looked off into the distance for the audio listeners.
Whoa, dreamy. So dreamy.
Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
I love a man who
Your
could
Happy
pilot
Meal.
Metal Gear.
I love a man who
That
can
Happy
pilot a Metal
Meal.
Gear.
I love you.
Oh god,
Wow.
Liquid's a Happy Meal.
Ew.
All right.
Ew.
I hate it. But yeah, so you have to essentially for the first phase of the battle get his life bar down, and by targeting the radome, and by throwing chaff grenades and using the stinger to lock on. But essentially, you throw a chaff, you do a stinger, and then you run like fuck, and you throw another chaff, and yeah, that's essentially the first phase of the battle. And I had this part wasn't that bad. It was the second half that I had a whole bunch of trouble with until I started cheesing it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Did anybody have a different experience before we dive into the Gray Fox stuff?
No.
Isaac?
I always forgot to use chaff grenades because I just forgot that I had them. So I like died a bunch and I was like, oh yeah, duh, the thing for the whole fucking game.
Yeah, the one item that I've been using with zero prejudice the whole game.
I'm also dumb.
Oh no, you were role playing a snake.
I was role playing as Snake.
Hey, me
Of
Snake.
course.
My favorite is Snake in the Smash Brothers Ultimate story mode opening cutscene where he's just hiding in a box and gets fucking obliterated by a laser.
Oh yeah.
Because he's
I
an
love
idiot. I think Snake's just
Yeah.
dumb,
Oh god,
anyways.
it's fantastic. So the story mode of Smash Bros. Ultimate is that this like evil wipes out like captures all of the Smash Bros. Fighters except for Kirby, and you have to rescue everybody. And they're all fighting valiantly or running or doing something, and they get like aced by this giant light that like disintegrates them. And Snake is just, you don't even see him because he's in a cardboard box thinking that the cardboard box will save him. He just gets fucking lit up. It's hilarious.
He's like in a cardboard box in the middle of a forest clearing.
Yeah, like he's not even hiding anywhere. He's just like on a cliff. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dog?
He's a smart boy.
He's real dumb.
He actually
Cool, so let's dive
is.
into Gray Fox.
I mean, if
Smart
you think
or
about dumb, I mean, like, even when he's getting briefed, like in the tapes in one, like he's just kind of like smoking his cigarette and just sitting there like, oh, okay. Like he's just so... He's definitely not
like,
the smarter. He's not the
I gotta
smart
mush
one in the
those
dynamic
dogs.
duo that is like him and Otacon. Like Otacon's the brain, Snake's like the beauty, and like he does all the action shit. But
Snake's
I
the
love that.
really-
Snake's the beauty.
he's really dumb.
Snake's the booty.
Snake's actually kind of dumb.
If you think that Snake... So yeah, Snake's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
The Metal Gear.
Sorry, Dave.
Nanomachines.
I mean, he is a
Yeah, I love
pawn.
you, Dave.
so-
Nerds.
Whoa, you were just a pawn. Very nice. Nice. Alice has the mark of a silver tongue. That's something. I like that. But yeah, so Gray Fox shows up and he's like, "Bitch, I was deep throat the whole time. Now I've got this Mega Man arm."
Is this weird?
It's
This is
pretty,
weird, right?
it's pretty.
Wait. Okay. I don't remember the Mega Man arm in one at all, but
It's
in
in
Twin
one.
Snakes, it was very apparent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, he
Okay,
definitely has-
I
he
don't-
has-
Very apparent in one.
He has a Mega Buster in one as well.
It's weird.
I don't remember the Mega Buster. I saw it in Twin Snakes. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Did this feel
Wait,
to you
what?
like they just decided they didn't want to make Deep Throat another character at the last minute?
No, so this is a thing that they did in Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's always like, "Hey, I'm the guy who got away. Who's this guy who's been calling you? Oh, it's that guy you forgot about from the beginning." Like, they always do that. But yeah, so
This
Alice,
felt so weird.
do you not remember? So when Gray Fox is like, "I'll hold him back for you," and just like holds the fucking Metal Gear in place and gets stomped.
Yeah.
He's got like a Mega Man gun arm on one of his arms. He's like shooting like laser balls.
Yeah.
At Metal
it's,
Gear.
It's definitely.
I mean, I just thought he was a badass, so
I mean, he is a
Right.
badass, but he has a Mega Man arm.
I don't remember this. Did I like block it out?
I need to
I don't
double check
remember
to
it
make
either.
sure I'm
Like
not
I don't
gonna-
remember
No,
it in the
you're
base
not.
game.
I mean,
I'm almost fucking positive that this is real.
I'll put
I remember
it
his
down,
arm gets
but he's-
cut off.
What? No, not the
And
one with
then
the Mega Man
fucking
gun though.
and then fucking Metal Gear like scrapes him off the ledge, which was fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't his arm a sword
Oh,
earlier?
I loved it. No, so he had a sword in his hand.
He was holding a sword.
Right.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. Dude, you guys, I swear to God, I'm gonna look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So Sam, tell us a little bit about what Gray Fox says while I seek out this information.
You're goddamn right. So I don't know why I say you're goddamn right. I will. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, so Snake is about to get crushed to death by Rex, and Gray Fox shows up and stops him from getting crushed and finishes destroying the radar dish.
It's like, thanks.
And then
thanks,
they go
bro.
hide behind a box. Yeah, they go hide behind a box, and Gray Fox is just like, "I'm a prisoner of death, and you have to free me, dude."
Exactly like that, actually.
Yeah, and Snake is just like, but Naomi, you have to stop her. She's bent on revenge. And Gray Fox reveals that he can't do it because he's the one who actually killed her parents, her real parents, and he couldn't bring himself to kill her, and that's why he took her in. And then he tells Snake, he's like, "You have to tell her that I was the one that did it after I'm dead." And then Liquid finds them, and then he says, as one final present from Deep Throat, he's gonna stop Metal Gear from moving. And then Liquid lasers his arm off and then crushes him against the wall. And then Liquid opens up the cockpit of Metal Gear, and Gray Fox is just like, "Yo, you gotta kill me now," and
Yeah.
says to fire a missile at him. And then so this is the unskippable part. You are now in technically a gameplay cutscene where you are aiming a Stinger missile at Metal Gear and Gray Fox, and he tells you to kill him and does this like whole soliloquy about like his that he prayed for death, and or that he's just like they're not tools of the government or something like that. Or
Goes on for an uncomfortably long time.
Well, it
Yeah.
comes up again in 2. Like Snake almost literally word for word says this to Raiden. Can confirm.
Yeah.
Gray Fox does have a Mega Man hand.
Also,
That's insane.
That's fucking sick.
Alessio looking that up reminded me that he utters my favorite line of the whole game, which is, "You look terrible, Snake. You haven't aged well." Yeah. Way to fucking get him, Gray Fox.
Yeah, a dead man said that to you.
Take him down a notch, you know?
I also, it was weird to me, the voice actor for DARPA Chief is the voice actor for Ninja, so it's always weird to me to see that there's a white man's face underneath.
I felt the same way. I
Yeah.
was like, that's not a white man's voice.
Yeah.
By no
I was
means.
just gonna
It's
say that.
interesting. But yeah, and then we
He kind of sounds like old Sam.
Yeah.
what he does with the gun arm is he destroys the radome permanently, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so you're in this like uncomfortably long cutscene where he's preaching to you about how he can finally die, and if you try and shoot him with the stinger, as I did multiple times, Snake's like, "I can't do it.
Oh yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it." And you just have to listen to him talk about how he's it's okay that he's gonna die, and then after he's done with this, it moves to another cutscene where Liquid scrapes him off the fucking wall with Metal Gear's leg.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
Is it metal,
and then
you guys?
Oh, it's metal.
it's pretty metal.
It's pretty sick.
And then Liquid Gray Fox tells Snake that they're not tools of the government or anyone else, and that the only thing he was ever good at was fighting, but at least he always fought for what he believed in. And then he says goodbye, and Liquid crushes him to death underfoot.
Yeah.
And then Liquid's like, he prayed for death and it found him, and then Liquid's like, "You can't protect anybody, dude," and then goes, "Die!"
Yeah. Classic Liquid.
Makes the Metal Gear
Classic
roar a little
Liquid.
bit, which
He
is
just-
fun.
Yeah.
He's just like a big little kid with a big toy. Like seriously, when he does that, I'm just like, oh my god, this guy destroyed action figures as a child. Like,
He's like a really hot
he
little
was
kid
trying
with an
to
action figure.
Oh my god.
whoa,
damn it.
move over, boss.
He's
Liquid
trying
is
to-
the new hot thing.
No, Boss will always have
Call
my
the
heart.
cops.
Oh my god.
I love
Yeah.
I love you,
Alarm
Boss.
me. Thank you.
Please stop on me, Boss.
No. Need a parent.
He just need
Oh,
need
that-
an
that is
adult.
Alessio's parent,
Just
if you
needs
know
the
what I mean.
boss.
Yeah, can I
Alessio,
get
if you're listening to this for the first time in the future, you'll find out that Alessio canonically needs women to step on him to get off.
Oh,
I think if I could get a Boss cosplayer to just take my gun apart and throw me off a bridge, that'd be great.
whoa.
You can take that.
That's how I want to go.
Next birthday.
Cool. Let's talk about this real quick. Just super quick because it's super easy. The second part of the fight is very difficult. However, tactically, it's pretty simple. You shoot a Stinger missile at a nude man when you get openings, and that's pretty much it. Like,
Whoa.
we're shooting Liquid with a Stinger.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't understand how you can take more than one, but he's doing it.
He should have been fucking dead so many goddamn times in the end of this game. It
Tough
doesn't,
boy.
who fucking cares?
Yeah, it's kinda
I will say,
He says, "Oh God, I can't." Okay.
when you beat him, it is the first time that I can recall hearing a Metal Gear scream like an animal.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
it.
Because like in future games,
he-
like in 2, Ray screams like a dinosaur,
Yeah.
and then like in 4, they all make cow noises for some reason. It's very weird.
What the fuck?
Here's my thing about the Metal Gear that screaming. What function, especially in its destruction, what function
Well-
do you have to do to make a Metal Gear scream like
Sam,
that?
you gotta remember it's
Like-
because fucking Otacon wants to make all of his machines like weird creature people. Because he's got.
I guess,
his
but like,
fucking
what
Hey!
button do you press?
Don't
Is
don't criticize him.
Hey, you don't touch
He
me.
had a lot of things happen to him in his childhood and his
It's
romantic
just
life.
a character flaw, Snake. Yeah.
Wow.
Otacon.
the character?
He's doing his best.
God damn.
He's invade. He's excused.
Naomi sure as fuck thinks so in 4.
Bitch.
Whoa.
Bitch. Jesus Christ. I don't even know what the fuck I was going to say because there's just a lot happening.
Yeah. Do you guys want to truck through this so we can get to the rest of the goodies?
Yeah. I had the hardest fucking time with this, and I discovered a strat for this, and I don't know if you guys know about this or not, because I had to repeat this, including because if you die here, you have to go all the way back to the beginning battle, the beginning phase, go through the Gray Fox stuff again, and then get back here. And I had to do that 6 fucking times because I kept on running out of chaffs, and I couldn't get the resupply in enough time to not get fucking blissed by these missiles. I found out on accident on my last try here that if you chaff him and you run underneath his feet, right underneath him is his blind spot, like cameras, and he'll do like a little hokey pokey dance for a while, looking around for you, and eventually he'll stand still enough where you can aim a stinger at his under chin, like underneath the chin where Liquid is, and it'll do the same fucking thing. And then you just run forward so that he doesn't see you, and you do the hokey pokey dance with him again, and you can just do that over and over again until he goes down.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really good to know.
So you only need I don't really even think you need the chaff, but like the first chaff, but you don't really need any chaff grenades to, like, you just run underneath him and he can't hit you with anything and he doesn't see you, and you just kind of rinse and repeat.
I always thought it was a really big cop out that like Gray Fox went to all the trouble to destroy that radome permanently, and yet we still need the fucking chaff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels
it's
kind
so
of
weird.
like a sacrifice that didn't need to happen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, sorry that my friend got crushed for nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, Snake gets thrown against a wall by the explosion whenever you defeat Liquid, and Liquid kind of approaches him, and through this POV kind of cool animation kind of drags Snake to the top of the Metal Gear, and then he gets really, which again kind of out of character with the minor spoiler, with the Liquid that we encounter in 5. Whoops. Kind of out of character with Liquid's portrayal in 5. He seems to actually be really into Big Boss's dying wish.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop too. Like I was trying to connect the dots of like, well, when
Yeah, I thought you didn't like your dad.
When did the shift happen?
Why you like him all?
I
all
think-
of a sudden?
When did y'all touch?
I think the Jesus.
Not like that, Sam. Get your head out of the gutter.
Yikes. What were you saying?
Anyway, I think the explanation that I had was that he was doing it to surpass Big Boss.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and I think
Like
that's
he was
kind
trying to
of what
do
they say.
he was trying to do his dream but better. And I think that was because he keeps on saying, he's like, it's not. I think at one point, like right before the Rex fight, they talk about how like is Liquid doing it out of this twisted sense of love, and Liquid goes, love, no, it's
Yeah.
hate.
Well,
So I think he just wants to do it better than Daddy.
totally, and I get that. I think there's a lot of that happens in 5 as well. I do want to make a quick mention. I would feel remiss not to point this out. These scenes are all POV, which is strange considering that no other scenes in the game besides the torture are POV, and no scenes later in the scene are POV. And so specifically the scenes where Liquid says, "You like to hurt people, don't you?" And things like that, it feels explicitly like the game is talking to us. And I think giving us this method of taking in the information, which is through Snake's eyes, which again very rarely happens, it kind of feels a little bit more poignant, and I think it kind of resonated with me a little bit harder this time. Liquid does kind of lecture you on the whole weird, twisted, I've been fixating over how we were born, and there were 8 of us in the womb, and it turns out 6 of us were killed during the experiment. We all know there's a secret third one.
Right.
I don't know if James knows
I do.
just yet.
Yeah, I know.
But there's
Well,
a
it's
secret third
like
one.
it's revealed at the end. Like if you're listening to the credits, like they pretty explicitly say the third one.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, and then effectively we also then get a little added danger where the security of defense straight up just says they're going to carpet bomb Shadow Moses to keep things covered up. Campbell mentions that Foxhound's secret investigation was being led by, I guess, so Meryl was like an undercover, like a narc.
Yeah,
was kind of
wow.
the deal.
The twists keep coming.
Yeah, and
And they don't stop coming.
yeah, and so Campbell was like conducting his own Foxhound investigation, and then the Secretary of Defense arrests Colonel, and then is Jim Hausman, and Jim essentially says that they've prepared a convincing cover story, and that he has ultimate say, and it's kind of revealed that he was really good friends with the DARPA chief, and when Snake mentions that
He was my friend.
When Snake mentions that he has the test data, all of a sudden Jim's ears perk up, and he's like, "Oh, well, if you have the test data, like, you're fine." And then Snake's like, "But I lost it," and they're like, "Oh, well, we need to kill you then." And so what ends up happening is the way this works out mechanically is we get 3 minutes put on a timer, and we're told that we have to beat Liquid in 3 minutes to avoid the carpet bombing, or in my case, to save Meryl.
But he tells you about this, and he does like a monologue, and you lose 30 seconds of the 3 minutes before the battle starts.
Yeah, which cracks me up.
Because he's chit-chatting like an asshole.
Alice, do you know, is Audic, so in this sequence for me, and I'm assuming for the rest of the fellas here, Meryl's body was tied up next to Snake's, so like you could literally see her laying there during these cutscenes. Is it Audicon?
No,
it's
it's Meryl, but she's not moving.
Oh, she's like dead
She's
already.
dead, yeah.
Yeah, like after the battle, he like cradles her body, and like she's dead. She dies. Like either she dies in his arms, or she was already dead, or something happens.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Canonically, they both live.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
kind
I-
of dumb that this choice was even in the game.
I
Yeah, it's
don't
weird. I didn't realize
remember
that.
if she actually talks to him. Like, if you say Vodacon, I don't think they act that she's actually cognizant. Like, I think she's dead.
Yeah, no, I think it's like
Wow.
it was too late. Yeah.
It's a weird
Yeah.
like choice to put in here.
Yeah.
To be fair on this one though, I don't know that Kojima was thinking about 4.
Oh,
when he was
no, for
doing
sure.
this, so
Yeah. I don't think Kojima was thinking about 4 even while he was working on 4.
yeah, you're probably right about
To
that.
be fair.
Well,
just on account of everything that had to do with Meryl in that video game, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't think when we talk about this in Season 2, when you guys eventually get to it, who are listening, I don't think Kojima was thinking about any Metal Gear after 2. So, I think it's a miracle that those games even got put together, and God bless our senpai being released from his prison that is Metal Gear. But yeah. So let's talk about, so it's just a fist fight. This is kind of the final boss fight. Let's talk about this real quick.
holy shit though, I legitimately out loud a couple times I said, "Fuck you, Eli." Like seriously. one time he comes in and literally the way that this went down with me was, I think on my like 5th try, he goes, "Have at you, Snake," and I said, "Fuck you, Eli."
Yeah, so
Like, it was
canonically,
the-
Solid Snake's name is David, and Liquid Snake is named Eli. That is information that will become very, very readily available once we get into 5.
Yeah.
but
I think thematically this is a cool fight.
Thematically, it's great. Just functionally, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of like the.
at least I thought so.
How many of you guys? Because I can't remember who all was on it. Has anybody played the MG2 Metal Gear 2 with the fist fight with Gray Fox, other than me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because I think it might have been me and Nick Freda or me and Cameron that talked about it. So this feels almost identical to that, because like you're fist fighting Gray Fox, but you're in a minefield. So if you step anywhere outside of the arena, like you just die.
That's pretty cool.
And so it kind of feels just like this, but like just like it felt in that game. Like it feels kind of like, hey, I hope you can get in enough hits before you die.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to like dodge with any accuracy whatsoever. I think they kind of rectified this with 4, because 4 ends on a similar note.
Right.
But I think they do a good job of making it less like bullet sponge. Good luck.
Yeah. And the other thing of it too is that like it's very easy to whiff combos and get trapped in combos where you're not doing any damage to him, and then he will just retaliate and fucking. It takes like 5 cycles of punching him to get his life down to a point where one of his kicks will get you to.
It's wild. Yeah, he hits
Like
like a fucking dump truck.
Yeah. And then he has this like move, if you're standing near him, he'll like crouch, and typically that's your cue to get out of the way, but it's so fucking difficult that he'll do this crouch and he'll like charge forward, and it almost feels like it hits you like the fucking homing missiles do. His reach is insane, like, and there doesn't seem to be like a set rule of how many times you can hit him in a combo. Like, it's very weird. Like, sometimes you get 1 and he'll run away, sometimes you get 3. It's very weird.
I agree.
Hit or miss, if you will.
Yeah, it's a cool moment, but
Isaac!
I think the moment is taken away by the fact that I think they felt like, oh, this is the final boss, we got to make it tough. And I feel like it could have been a cooler moment if they just made it to where like you guys were on the equal playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It, like we've talked before, I'm pretty sure on the show that difficulty doesn't necessarily equal a good boss battle. Like it's, it has to fit with this could have been like a really cool final boss, and it just felt grindy.
They could have
and
leaned
difficult.
into the thematic nature of it. I think we always go back to like the Dark Souls thing,
Yeah, not to mention like there are points where if you're too close to the edge, you'll fall off and you have to pull yourself back up, which wastes time.
That happens to me a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes I did it on purpose just to get the fuck away from him. Like,
I wish that
and I don't know if this is true with you, but like if like towards the end of the battle when his life is lower, and if you're near the edge of Metal Gear and you kick him, he'll fall off too. When he comes back up, he has invincibility frames, which I don't know if you do when you come back up.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, and then the other thing of it too is that when his life is low enough, you have to combo him at the edge of Metal Gear to end the battle. Otherwise, his life keeps restoring.
I really wish that you could like pull out a gun Indiana Jones style in the middle of this and just shoot him.
that'd be cool.
It'd be very in character.
Yeah,
It would be a very Snake move.
you have none of your shit. You don't have any rations. You have nothing. Like it's you have one life to live, and you better fucking do it.
No shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he took your shirt.
Neither
too,
of
so
them
you
this
could
time.
Press by.
Naked
like,
bros.
Now, Snake.
Naked bros.
When are you gonna
to the
climb all
death.
over me? Sweaty, shirtless brothers.
When are you
in the
gonna
heats
climb
of
all
passion.
over me?
When are you gonna climb all over me?
I feel like this is the
Brother.
perfect premise for like a porn parody. Is just this.
I was gonna say, are we writing a fucking porn fan fiction of Metal Gear Solid right now?
Sounds
Metal
like
Gear
it.
Solid.
Collectively?
Yowie.
No, it's a metal guys.
No, just you really,
solid.
you just ended at Metal Gear Solid. Like the fucking name of the game is a porn parody name. It's Metal Gear Solid.
Liquid.
Twin snakes.
Oh,
Jesus
yikes.
Christ. But yeah, so essentially what ends up happening is like after we do all this, Liquid just kind of falls to his death, I guess.
There he goes.
In
Well,
our game, air quote death. In our game, Meryl lives and has the conversation. Otacon then calls up and says that he's got to beat on some vehicles, and so Snake and Meryl, after they have their heartfelt kind of reunion, they go and they run to their vehicles. Sorry.
also really quick though, Meryl's real horny.
Oh yeah, she wakes up in all those
She's
presents.
thirsty as fuck.
That's 'cause she wakes up and she's like, I saw you shirtless boys pounding on each other. Do you mind if I squeeze in between?
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, you're totally right.
It was a
There's a lot of
little,
talk of like Ocelot, or
uncomfortable.
there's a lot of talk of Otacon sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
Which like I thought was kind of dumb because
Yeah.
like even in the Meryl ending, it's pretty easily explained that Otacon doesn't die.
Right.
Because the bombs
Well, I
that are supposed
think
to hit
the idea-
Shadowmosis
well, 'cause-
never happen.
Yeah, because Snake brings that up too to Colonel because he says have somebody check on Hal.
Yeah.
But like he definitely
But-
doesn't die.
Well, to me, it's always really shitty when stories do that too. Like, I'm not a huge fan of whenever they're like, "We're gonna build up this really big sacrifice and make it like a real big tearjerker," and then they're like, "LOL, sacrifices aren't real. You're fine. Good guys win. Video games forever."
Alternatively, if you save Otacon, then that plays. I almost feel like Meryl dying is the better ending.
Yeah, probably.
Because it does play into like I don't particularly like it, but it plays into that whole like sacrifices, bad shit
Right.
happens and when shit like this happens, like it feels very permanent and like very like there's a lesson here.
For sure. In this Meryl section, then we get to these Jeeps, and Meryl's wearing this really nice Charlie like Street Fighter vest, which I love. She's wearing this like orange
She
jumpsuit
does.
vest. And we are in this
Fucking
turret
Nash.
section. Do you guys want to talk about this? Because I absolutely despise this. I do not like this.
Really?
Sucked so bad.
Yeah, this is my least favorite.
I feel like it could
Wow.
have been cool, but I feel like it plays very clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was good, but I thought it was better than the fight with Liquid. Like it's it's not too difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely better than that fight, but it just too is just clunky, man.
Until
like,
Liquid rolls up in his wheels, and then he's like, "LOL,
Well, he
let's
rolls up
slam
in
our
his
cars
wheels.
together."
Yeah.
This motherfucker
Why?
survives Metal Gear blowing up, Well, no. First of all, he survives a hind D blowing up. He survives Metal Gear blowing up. He survives falling off of Metal Gear, which, let me remind you, at the beginning of the battle says, if you cross this line, even you will die. Indicating that if he crosses that line, even he will die. So he survives falling off of Metal Gear. He survives crashing a Jeep after being pelted with machine gun bullets.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Holy fuck.
And all
what
at the end
fuck is...
to just succumb to cardiac arrest.
Yeah,
Isn't it
like,
funny?
holy
Ain't that how
fuck.
it goes?
Yeah.
Ain't
Isn't
that how
that
it
funny?
goes?
Golly.
But yeah, so this turret section, essentially for those of you at home who have no way to play this, which, spoilers, some of you might be learning you have a way to play this very soon based on the end of this episode. But we are riding in the back of a Jeep with a gun turret, and we have kind of these, like, I don't know how to describe them, almost like Time Crisis-esque. Like, Meryl will stop the Jeep and be like, you got to clear all the guards out before we can go. And you have to, like, mow all these guards down and then drive. And then eventually, after, like, one or two of these checkpoints, Liquid pulls up and he's like, haha, you thought I was dead, motherfucker. And then we have to, like, shoot him 1,000,000 times until we get to the end of a tunnel.
It's weird.
And it's okay.
The arcade
it's-
version of this game.
Yes. It feels like Die Hard Arcade Edition or
Yeah.
something. Like, it's like that quality of game.
Right.
The music's cool.
Music's really cool. I agree with that.
Alice, did you have a hard time with this the first time that you played it? How long has it been since you've revisited this game? I don't think we've talked about that.
Oh, I don't know. I think I definitely replayed it in college, so somewhere between like 2007, 2012. But that's the last time I played Metal Gear Solid.
Nice. Do you have any memories of this point?
It sucked. I told you, like the whole second disc, it's just like a troll. It's just like, just when you think it can't get worse, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Just when you think you're like, finally, I fucking killed all these people with this machine gun. Okay, I'm just gonna like go out on the Jeep. Then Liquid's coming, and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like every
And we
time.
love this game. This is coming from people who love this
Yeah, and I
game.
love it. But the second
It
disc was a
pulls-
pain
it pulls
in the
you in.
ass.
Yeah.
It's just
It
like
pulls you in with Vulcan Raven.
that was the
Best
last fun part. That was
then
the last fun part on disc
And then it,
2 was Vulcan Raven battle.
yeah, and then
true.
it gives you the rest
And
of
Vulcan
it.
Raven went off to be in a better video game that we never got in this dimension.
Vulcan Raven went off to the far plane to hang out with like Titus's dad and Yuna's dad.
Oh, that's so
You cried.
sweet. I love that.
Vulcan Raven's playing Blitzball in heaven right now.
No, he's annihilating people.
Vulcan
with his
Raven would be a
rail
fucking
gun.
awesome blitzball player. Holy shit.
I want
Vulcan
Waka and
Raven,
Raven to be in a game together.
Oh shit! That
Yeah,
they could
dude.
be a good team. Maybe.
Maybe.
I
If Waka
enjoy
can get over
these
his bigoted
islands.
racism.
Yeah,
Waka was annoying
Bretta.
as fuck.
Come play blitzball with us, big boy.
I want to do like dueling Sams one day. It'll just be Sam doing voices at himself.
Ooh,
I have a lot of
I
them.
would listen to that.
But yeah.
I'm just gonna host one of the episodes by myself.
That'd be great.
Like, I'll just
That'd
do
be really
invent
great.
3 characters, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so as soon as this is done, essentially what ends up happening is we have this like kind of car accident at the mouth of the tunnel because Liquid's a bad driver. And Liquid gets out and Snake's like, oh, it's finally over. And then Liquid gets up and he's like, no, it's not, motherfucker. And he's about to kill Liquid or Solid. And then this definitely feels like some invisible hands of a child are mashing these Jeep toys together at the mouth of this tunnel. And Liquid like pulls out his gun. He's like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. And then all of a sudden, as if we didn't expect this to ever happen, Liquid goes, Fox, die! And just like
No,
dies.
it's even better than that. Liquid says
Fox.
Fox, and Snake says die. Like it's
Yeah, that was like the weirdest.
good.
voice
it's way
acting
better than Liquid
choice.
saying Fox die.
Melodramas.
yeah. So
Off the
Oh,
charts.
excellent! It's
this
inspired.
moment, this place where it happens too, comes back in 4, almost like explicitly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is wonderful. But we talked to Colonel kind of shortly after when Snake has discerned that this is in fact over. Colonel has taken back over the operation. The president even is blaming everything on the Secretary of Defense.
Pretty fucked up.
And so
okay.
Colonel is back in business. And then
Yep.
essentially like Colonel says he's sorry. And like all these different organizations are waiting for Snake to come home, like the NSA.
Yeah.
And Snake calls Colonel Roy, which brought a smile to my face. And the boys are back. And then there's a line that gets super retconned where essentially Snake says the battery on these nanomachines will run out soon. They won't be able to follow us.
Yeah, what was he, what?
One, what battery? And two, I'm pretty sure that the only reason why in 4 he's allowed to, like, be a renegade is because he's got nanomachines that are not, like, registered with the system.
Right.
Standard issue nanomachines.
So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But then Snake tells Naomi about her brother. And then she is the one who kind of cues up the moral conundrum.
He doesn't like tell her what he wanted her to tell him or what he wanted him to tell her.
Oh,
because Gray Fox wanted Snake to tell her that he was the one who killed his parents.
Yeah.
But Snake instead says that he wanted that he loved her very much and that he wanted her to keep living her life and move on from him.
I could have swore that she said she heard him or something in the dialogue.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I also think that Snake wasn't doing her a service by not telling her the truth. I think he was just too dumb to remember what he was supposed to tell her. Said the nice thing that came to his mind.
That is the best way I've ever heard anybody describe Solid Snake. Fucking dumbass. But then Naomi says the moral of the game out loud, which is live, Snake. That's all I can say
He's
to
like,
you.
Fox, live, Snake.
Yeah.
That's all he can comprehend at this point.
Fox, live.
You almost wish that like Red Foreman and fucking Hank Hill were his support team.
Oh yeah,
That'd be amazing.
that'd be phenomenal.
Fucking dumbass. God dang it, Snake.
Something wrong with that boy.
But then they ramble on a little bit like after the fact about genes.
Yeah.
We get this like live action like caribou shot.
The caribou was weird.
Everybody rides into the sunset. We get the best yet to come, which I think is like one of the better end credit songs for the whole series. Snake essentially says like, "Come on, let's enjoy our lives." And then we get this really fucking cool text thing,
Very bleak.
which is like super anti-nuke and very terrifying.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we should live, everything's great, and then it's like, cue the existential crisis text.
There's still this many thousand nukes in the world. Like, what the fuck, right? We're all gonna die.
It's very when it feels kind of conflicting because it's like Snake's being like, let's just go live our lives, and then
Right.
Kojima's like, but you should live in terror.
yeah.
And it's like I feel like one of these is different than the other.
It was rough. It was something like by the year 2000 we were supposed to be down to like 3,000 nukes, and then they're like in 1998 we have 26,000 nukes. It's like, oh, neat.
Thanks, y'all.
Good times.
The credits go on for quite a while.
Yeah.
We already talked a lot about some of these credits during
long
the
credits.
development at the beginning of the season. Sam, do you want to tell us about the post credits? Not at the end of the credits, right before the end credit scene. There's just an extra Naomi telling us to choose life monologue.
Yeah,
just
for
for
talks
no
about
reason.
choosing life.
Just
yeah,
no
it doesn't
reason
make
at all.
any sense. But okay. But after this, you get a post-credits scene, and it's Ocelot. He's speaking to somebody.
This becomes
and
almost
he
like a meme for the
confirms-
series as well, by the way, because they will go on to do
Yeah,
this
like-
at the end of every game.
Every Metal Gear, there's some type of like post-credit sequence, and it's Ocelot in the games that Ocelot is in almost exclusively.
Yeah, it's almost always Ocelot talking to somebody, and then with like a
Fucking Ocelot.
it's so good.
Yeah, at the end. But he's talking to somebody.
That was amazing. Thank you, Alice.
Fantastic. But you get a codec call, or you're listening to Ocelot talking to somebody. He confirms with this person that the entire unit was wiped out, assuming the terrorists, and that Snake and Meryl are still alive, and that he confirms that Fox Dice should be activated soon. And then he also confirms that he recovered all of Rex's dummy warhead data, which is the disc that he stole from Snake during the torture. He mentions that his cover is still intact, and that the DARPA chief, who's the only one who knew of his identity, has been disposed of. So that whole killing the DARPA chief was on purpose. He then brings up the twist that we mentioned earlier, that the inferior one was the winner, confirming that despite thinking he had all the recessive genes, he actually was the dominant one, which is maybe why his kicks hit like a fucking dump truck instead of, and then Ocelot agrees that there's like a brief gap of time, and then he like silence, and he agrees that it would take a balanced individual like you, he says, to rule the world, and then he says that no one knows that he is the third one, Solidus.
I forgot that he name checked Solidus like by name.
Ocelot asks what he should do about the woman, which I think is Naomi, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then says that he will keep her under surveillance. And then Ocelot says goodbye. Well, actually, instead of me saying it, can you cue it here, Alessio?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
I do love it. I want Ocelot to sing like the Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn
Happy
Monroe.
birthday, Mr. President.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
I do love Alice completely like
birthday.
it's not totally out of context, but Alice just going like she
What?
said Marilyn Monroe, but it like rolled off as like a noise.
Great.
It's like Marilyn Monroe.
Great.
I loved it.
That sounds like the hook for a fucking rap song now, like a trap song.
Yeah, it's like right before the trap beat kicks in. It's just like,
Great.
and then it's like,
Great.
I love it.
Marilyn Monroe. Drinking the wine. Da-ba-da-da-da.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
Skirt.
But why didn't
Air horn.
we talk about the Otacon ending? Where they ride off into the sunset
yeah. No,
let's talk
on
about
the
that.
little
So-
motor scooter?
We didn't talk about the Otacon ending because we're all a bunch of soft boys who
Is that a
couldn't
thing?
let her die.
Separate fucking.
Yeah, so, it's so depending on who you
So
save, you get
goofy.
two different endings.
Really?
Yeah. So that's like, what we were talking about with the decision. Like,
Yeah,
do you
no,
let
I
one
just
live,
figured
let
that was
one
it. Then
die?
you just went off
Oh,
alone.
no.
I thought it ended there.
No.
You didn't get all the other
No,
extra,
it's
like,
Snake.
choose life. I thought it was just him cradling her, and then that's it.
No, it's Snake and Otacon, and he's like, "All right, David. All right, Hal."
Well, yeah, no,
go.
he does. They do the same thing. They do the same thing where Snake reveals that his name is actually David, which he does to Meryl.
Like, thanks, Dave.
And yeah, Otacon
And so
says,
Dave
yeah,
Matthews
Otacon calls him
starts.
Dave. Yeah, that's how it starts. Otacon calls him Dave, and Snake goes, Dave and Hal, and then they go.
They have that like little moment of laughing together. It's so cute.
They're like, "Oh, David
We
and
talked
Hal,
about
we should
this,
go watch
like-
2001 together right now."
Yeah, we talked about this like in I think episode 1, where like anytime the characters are like together, like share a laugh, it's the best thing ever.
Oh,
and this
yeah.
is like the ultimate version of that.
Especially in the Codex.
Do they still see
Yeah.
the caribou?
Yeah, everything else is.
Wow.
Yeah, but
That's some
but
goofy
Snake doesn't
shit.
bring the caribou up. Like Snake gives Meryl a lesson about like how the Inuits think that, or I think the Inuits think that caribou.
Tastes good,
mean,
but in
like
reality they
Beginnings and all
don't.
that jazz.
Yeah, like
Spring is
they're-
coming. The anti-Game of
Yeah,
Thrones
spring is
message.
coming. Yeah, it means life and everything like that. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's pretty good. I love this scene in Twin Snakes, and I'm sure I'll bring it up again, but I need to bring this up right now. They get down to the snowmobile, like there's a voiceover of like Colonel talking and them talking about like what's going to happen, and they make it down to the snowmobile without incident. In Twin Snakes, Otacon virtually falls and tumbles down the entire mountain, and Snake's just like, "You fucking idiot!" Like he didn't help him or anything. Like it's fucking insane.
Classic Emmerich
It's
move.
great.
I love it. Oh, those two.
But anyway, that's the game. We did it. What was everybody's final rank?
Literally did not
God, I
did not
have
catalog
no
mine.
idea.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I took a picture. Hold on.
Nice.
Isaac came prepared.
I was gonna take a picture and then I pressed the button on accident and skipped it, but I know that my final rank was Hyena, which is probably pretty bad.
I think Hyena's actually pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's like awful or anything.
I got a puma.
Ooh,
Puma.
There you go.
Isaac. I
I
feel
don't
like
know
I
what that
normally always
means.
get like I'm trying to remember exactly.
I
I always get
literally
some
don't
sort of
remember.
bird or something. I'm trying to remember what it was.
A little chick.
Yeah, do you remember what you got, James?
I'm trying to think of it
sparrow.
right now. I should have made a note of it.
I feel like I
I'm
get
an asshole.
spider or something usually.
Spider.
But that might be the other games.
I got spider and twin snakes, but
Nice. Let's talk final thoughts before we dive into the second portion of this episode, which I think should not take up too terribly much time. So, do you guys want to just real quick roundtable kind of over under on thoughts? Sam, coming to this as somebody who's played it several times and has kind of revisited it for the show now. What do you feel like you took anything new away from the experience, or was it just kind of solidifying some deeply held beliefs maybe that you had about the game?
I think a little bit of both, because like coming out of it, like we did give some shade to the back half of disc 2, but I think overall the game is a masterpiece. Honestly, it's one of the like most iconic games. Like I think not only like in general, but in my life, as I've discussed before. I like I said, so this is the remaster. When we did the first season of the show originally, I didn't replay Metal Gear Solid at all for the show, and Alessio played it like just parts, like bits and pieces of it. And it's been a long time since I've played it all the way through, and it refreshed my memory on some stuff. It made me feel some things that I've maybe forgotten, and it solidified the fact that even though there are some frustrating moments just based on the fact that it is, an older game, it's still phenomenal and iconic, and I would give it 10 sweet potato pies at Thanksgiving out of
11.
A Christmas tree.
I like it. Isaac, as somebody who has come to this fresh, and now somewhat less fresh.
Stale?
Yeah, did you...
Got a little bit of freezer burn on him. Like he's,
Yeah, did it sort of feel like...
Not a lot.
Did it feel like getting your ass beat by the tutorial boss and then coming back and showing them who's boss to like play all these newer games and then come back to this? Like what did this feel like?
I don't. Maybe my gameplay this time around was skewed because I bumped it down to easy, and that might have had something to do with it. But I definitely felt like I was owning it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Spoken like a true gamer boy. Do you see what we did to Isaac?
I mean, well, let's
No.
listen. We got to talk about this really quick because Isaac did fucking ace Vulcan Raven with a goddamn stinger. So I don't really know if we should be joking about Isaac's prowess. Like he's playing this game he's playing 3D chess with this game at this point. Like
To be fair, even on easy, I died quite a bit. I died.
Really?
Bless you. Alice, did you just throw a really at Isaac?
I see how it is.
Yikes.
But you have abs, though.
Abs can't save you, Alice.
Whoa.
Wow.
whoa.
Deep.
That's the true meaning of life, not that
Deep.
Meryl crap.
Wow.
Abs.
Live.
Yeah. Was that your takeaway, Isaac? That you've really started owning it?
I thought, okay, so when I was in preparation of starting the second playthrough, I kind of was, I don't want to say dreading it because, maybe dreading, I was dreading
Tell
it.
us how you
because-
feel.
Well, the first time around, obviously, I mean, you could play the tape. I died a lot. And so I was like, I don't want to have to do this again because I'm going to die a lot. But I feel like once I got into it and started playing a little bit, like the first in the first area, I guess, with the scuba gear and your
The flippies.
the flippy floppies and the snake booty. Everything kind of came back together, and I kind of liked it. I feel like, all right, so everybody's saying that they come back and revisit MGS or the series or what these games every year or so. I could kind of see myself doing that just because it's kind of fun to because it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So So yeah, I mean, don't hold me to that, but
So just a bunch of words, but don't listen to them.
don't.
Isaac, how many sweet
I
potatoes
think
on
Isaac-
Thanksgiving? Yeah, give it a
Oh,
rank.
I think-
huh? Shoot.
Yeah, how many sweet potato pies on Thanksgiving?
I'm
On
gonna-
the Christmas tree.
I'm gonna give it a pecan pie on
Ooh,
Thanksgiving.
Nutty.
that does make sense. You are from the South. Oh,
Give me that pecan pie.
Excuse me, miss. I'm gonna give me a pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
pecan pie.
You know what? Okay, now we're on the subject of sweet potato pies. Do you guys like sweet potato pies with the marshmallows? Because
I do not.
What are you
cannot
talking
get
about?
past-
No,
I did not.
no.
I've never even had.
What psychopath
such
is
a
putting
thing.
marshmallows?
My mom always
Yeah,
does
I
like
haven't had it either.
brown sugar.
You're
and,
like- marshmallows.
no, get out of here with that. It's too sweet.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
about to say.
marshmallows are too much.
Too much.
It's like a little bit of brown
What
sugar
psychopath?
and walnuts.
All right,
That's
y'all.
the way
hold
to
on.
fucking do it.
Let's get back on the rails.
Oh my god!
We'll do a whole
I'm so
Patriot Club
sorry.
episode on Southern cooking.
Yeah, please can we?
Alice, what is it that brings you back to this game? Because I feel like this is the one in the series that we keep talking about.
I mean, it's a masterpiece. There's so many interesting characters and storylines, and I think as much as like you're pissed off playing the second disc, I think all of the twists and turns kind of are just like very memorable, and I really enjoyed like the commentary on like nuclear war at the time. It was just like a very specific realm of a statement of like what they were trying to say. Especially, I feel like as an American audience experiencing it through like the lens of like a Japanese framework was kind of interesting. Especially as a kid, like I didn't know anything about nuclear war at the time, and just kind of realizing like, whoa, this is a serious issue for an 8-year-old or whatever to be absorbing. I think it was just a really unique mixture of stylistic choices, character, storyline. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing like it.
Nice. Since it is you and you were on this episode, I did want to really quickly ask you if you caught the David Lynch reference that Sniper Wolf throws out very casually.
When?
So when you fight her the second time, she tells Snake that she's going to send him a love letter from her gun to his heart.
Is that really a reference?
100%. She
Fucker.
just straight quotes the Blue Velvet, like I'm going to send you a love letter, fucker.
Whoa,
a
I
bullet to your heart,
never.
fucker. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course I fucking know. I mean,
how dare you,
that's
sir?
interesting. I
Yeah,
haven't-
it caught me very off. Like I feel like I woke up
Whoa.
while I was playing it this time. I was like, what?
Interesting.
But anyway,
Also,
James,
her hair is green. I agreed with Sam.
thank you. Hashtag Sniper
Hell
Wolf
yeah.
has green hair. James,
Also, the
what were your
stealth
thoughts
camera was
on this?
great.
It is great. James, third time's the charm. Also, what were your thoughts?
I feel like entertainment and games, especially in 2019, don't really condemn war or condemn like the nuclear arms race that we're still very much in,
Or condemn anything?
or condemn anything. Like we kind of just tolerate the suffering that we're going through in the year 2019, which is weird. So it was weird to see a game like try to say something, and like I don't know, I couldn't help but feel after that like it was too far ahead of its time, and like maybe that's wrong, maybe it was right where it needed to be, but like I don't know, I just wish we still had things like this today, because I feel like it's something that we don't get. You know, from a game perspective at least, it's another game I have to deal with a fucking Emmerich, so you know that's rough.
Oh my
But-
god! Why are you trying to start
what-
shit right now?
Oh no!
Alice is gonna come
damn
at
it.
you.
Alessio, can you play?
Better watch
Can you
out,
play?
James.
Can you cue a clip of as much as we can legally play of wannabe starting something?
No, but it was like,
Beat it, James.
I don't know. It's weird having having played Peace Walker and then 5 and then coming into this. It was just like the entire time I kept wanting to know what really happened with Big Boss, and like I was filled with regret that like we didn't get the proper story we should have gotten in 5 based on the cool shit that happens in this game.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Oh, we're gonna camp out on that for a long time. Like I hate to say it, but like I think our MGS5 season, it's coming soon, you guys. I love Ground Zeroes. Like
Yeah.
I will say, I think Ground
agree.
Zeroes might be
Ground Zeroes
like
is
one
great.
of the best Metal Gear things
Yeah.
that exists.
Yeah, just like mechanically, it's just like it's Ground Zeroes is fantastic.
Yeah, Ground Zeroes is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I definitely also think that Ground Zeroes, even though it kind of misses the mark a little bit, I think tried to do some crazy shit with
Totally.
its story. 5 whole other animal. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be fun.
It's we've also in the future in the show we brought up like the auteurs like that, like these auteur game developers, if they were restricted to like a short tight experience, what they could do. And Ground Zeroes is evidence that if Hideo Kojima was forced to make like a short game like that, he would knock it out of the park, and that's exactly what happened with Ground Zeroes.
That's a really good way to frame that. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, so I'll round us off real quick with the sort of wrap-up thoughts, and then after this we'll dive into the second section of this episode, which would be listener responses. The only reason why we're combining listener responses with the rest of the game is, 1, our coverage got very long, and 2, we want to try to maintain the episode count of the classic season just for archival and bookkeeping purposes. So we're going to tackle listener responses and a friendly raffle right after this. However, I just wanted to kind of square the circle with just kind of final thoughts. I know we talked about it towards the beginning of the season, but going back and replaying MGS1, even with this ending that kind of is shaky, this is definitely a game that, like, going back and revisiting it, it reminds me why we started this fucking podcast to begin with. This game's great. It feels great, and it's, I don't know, it's just awesome. For all the personality that's in this game, it's like outside of maybe Resident Evil at the time, like I feel like very few games had this much personality, if that makes sense. And we've talked about it, I think, at length. Like, I don't know whose personality it was. I don't know if it truly was all Kojima. I'm interested to talk about it. I discovered recently that the Twin Snakes is actually based a little bit more closely to the Japanese script than this game was.
That's interesting.
So I'm going to keep an eye out for that as I kind of finish my playthrough. And maybe we can kind of compare the two. But yeah, I think this and 2 in my brain are always going to be of a piece, because I feel like this exists so that 2 can comment on this. And so I feel like everybody who I hear playing 2 first, I feel like you kind of miss out on the experience that is like crystallizing this in your brain, and then playing 2 where it's like built to fuck with your expectations intentionally. But no, I love this game, and it definitely reminded me why I enjoy Metal Gear. So I do think
I love it. I
go ahead, Sam.
I just wanted to say really quick, like it's one of those games that like it a lot of times you can be clouded by nostalgia when it comes to older games. Like there's a lot of older games that like we remember as being really good and for the time were iconic, but you go back and you're like, these are kind of shit now. But it's one of those times I'm happy that a game that is so important to me, both like from a relationship level with my dad and as well as like being the game that got me into being a gamer. It's really nice that it still holds up as a video game and that it's still fun to play.
For sure. I do think, to the point that we were talking about with the sort of anti-war sentiment, I think it's a little bit of a detriment that the game hides its message behind 8 hours of a video game. Because I definitely agree with James that like this is really powerful, and like Far Cry 5 that was even poised to make a statement on like political things, just like completely fucking bungled that.
Totally.
But this is a game where it kind of hides its light under a bushel for like the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a shit ton of subtext and implication that this game is anti-war, but the game doesn't really outright stand out and say, this is bad, until literally the post-credit scene or almost the post-credit scene. And so I kind of feel like for a lot of people, like they probably didn't stick around all the way till like I'm always nervous about hiding your true intentions until the very end because I mean, it's on them for not sticking around, but at the same time, like if you want to expose people to more, I feel like maybe there could have been a little bit more sprinkled throughout.
And I do wonder like how much of that was like pressure and limitations at the time where it's like, hey, Kojima, you can't have your fucking very anti-war message in this game. I mean, you can hide it a little bit, but like that can't be the crux of it. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to play it.
Yeah, nobody wants to play something that makes them feel bad.
I mean, going back to like the subtext you pointed out of that first-person scene, like we like to hurt people, and
yeah,
that's what a lot of games are.
Yeah, especially in the West.
Yeah, it's such a weird like situation. The game is it's this duality of the series. It's like it's this kind of like action fantasy, like I'm a soldier boy sneaking around shooting shit and killing guys, but at the same time it's just like, hey, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, stop hurting people. Dope. Well, that's good. Yeah, I definitely give it like 10 sausage stuffed pizzas out of.
Oh fuck!
On Thanksgiving Day.
They don't all have to be about Thanksgiving. James is the one that stuck that because, like, typically we always give like nonsensical. So like, fuck Thanksgiving, y'all. Like,
Dang, I was gonna get called out like this.
Wow.
It's for all that Emmerich hate.
I'm withholding my rating.
Yeah, on the day of my daughter's wedding, how could you do this?
I'm gonna give
on
it
the day of my
daughter's wedding. How could you do this out of Thanksgiving?
On the day of my daughter's quinceañera.
Jesus Christ. Well, cool. So that is the wrap up on the season proper. We're now going to dive into listener responses. If you want to listen to our administrative talk about Patreon, listen to listener stories, or figure out who wins this sick raffle, come jump in with us in the next section.
Let's go.
Cool. So we got 4 of these actually. So real quick, I'm just going to throw this out there for the listeners at home. We have a Patreon request at the end, which is going to involve group involvement, and then we've got 4 individualized requests. I did this for one reason. So we're starting to get a lot more comments and traffic on Twitter and Facebook, which are great.
Yeah.
However, it also means that it's extremely difficult for me to find the listener responses. Like back in the day, it used to be like whatever stories we were submitted, we would just run with it. But I think we're starting to get to the point where we can't just like read every single Facebook comment. So what I would do is I would specifically say DM us either on Twitter or on Facebook, or send us an email. And that email address is contact@metalgearmondays.com now. That is official. Or you can use the contact form, which is at metalgearmondays.com. But email us, and that's going to be primarily where I look. We did have a couple stories and stuff like that. For various reasons, I chose the ones that we're going to be reading. So just know that even if you submit, we may not get to all of them every season, but we are going to try to get to as many of them as we can. Obviously, this is a little bit of a different situation because the episode's shorter. We had a ton of people come out in full force with any of the polls that we put together, which was what was your first Metal Gear and why. Tons of people responded, and unabashedly, MGS1 was the winner on every poll.
Oh God, it like a landslide.
Yeah, by an immense amount. So I just want to let you guys know we kind of curated this list down for this specific episode. Alice, as the guest, would you like to read one of these 4, or would you like to be involved in the Patreon thing over here at the end, or would you like to use this as a time for you to sign off? How would you? How do you want to proceed?
Reflect.
Man, I don't want to butcher anything. I'm not much of a reader.
No, listen, you can't be any worse than Isaac.
Yeah,
I would rather Isaac do it.
Oh my
actually.
God, guys, he's right here.
Okay,
James, can you just
I got your
help me
back,
out
boy.
here? Thank
Yeah.
you.
very nice.
I'm here for
Can
it.
you help me out?
You read great.
What the fuck?
So I did not have a
You
chance on
read
this.
good.
I didn't have a chance on this first one to do any sort of editorial review or cleanup. For some of these, I from time to time will kind of clean things up and kind of truncate them. But with this one, I'm just going to read it just because it's in the raw, and I don't want to have to put that on anybody else. So I'll start us off, and
Sugar
then I
in
can
the
pass
raw.
it over to Sam. So here we go. And I apologize, PJ. I do not know how to pronounce your last name, and I don't want to butcher it. I'm going to say PJ Kune via Facebook.
I'm going to say Coon. Not
okay,
well,
or Coon.
Maybe I won't say that. That seems. I feel like that's.
You can say that. I cannot say that.
Inflammatory.
So PJ writes, after listening to almost all the episodes again, I feel the urge to write you again. To put things in context, I'm PJ and I'm 40 years old. I live in Amsterdam with my wife, 2-year-old son, and our dog. As a busy dad, I find it hard to find time to play video games, so listening to your podcast is the next best thing, or better yet, a different but equal best thing. As I said, I've listened to your podcast numerous times and just love the interaction that you guys have. As a big Metal Gear fan, I love hearing about your experience playing the games, the funny and difficult moments, but also the honest critique on some of the games and or its gameplay or story, or, quote, whatnot, as Isaac would put it.
Do I do that a lot?
You do say
you
that
do.
quite a bit.
I read this response. So me and Alessio monitor the Facebook, and we kind of like we take turns and talk to the people at the same time. I read this response when we got it, and I was just like, I guess Isaac does have a catchphrase. He says whatnot a lot.
Yeah.
I don't realize this.
PJ continues, back to the urge that I have in writing you. Sometimes when you are not quite sure what you are feeling, you can try and get really close to that feeling. Put your whole being into really feeling what you feel. I did that to understand what it is that touches me so much when I listen to you guys. It's more than just nostalgia over a manly video game dude kicking butt with a tight butt of his own.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It is more than hearing a bad impression of someone saying, D. After listening to the last episode, I could finally come close enough to the feeling.
Really quick, I feel personally attacked by that one.
PJ continues, after listening to the last episode, I could finally come close enough to the feeling that I have to understand what it is. Sam's story about being in a dark place and pulling strength out of listening to people talk about something that you like. You guys are retelling part of my childhood in a way that is comforting, safe, honest, and warm. And that, my friends, is a rare skill that you should not think light of. Listening to your personal stories that are intertwined with Metal Gear is what makes listening a very special experience. Though I do not know you guys on a personal level, I do feel close to you as part of your childhood, and it is sharing of that experience with the good and the hard times that makes the podcast awesome. Now, enough of the new age mumbo jumbo, because it's just a box. Kind regards, PJ. Really quickly, I normally don't.
This made me tear up when I read it the first time.
Yeah, and I normally don't post like super gushy, like you guys are awesome letters, but I wanted to read PJ's just because, one, I don't think we ever give any shout outs to people in Amsterdam who listen to the show, so like fuck yeah, Amsterdam.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Sure. And number two, I wanted to read this specifically because what he said about kind of like honest and nostalgic and warm, these are all ways in which I would describe my feelings towards Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yep.
So I just thought you did a really good job with that, PJ, so thank you so much. Sam, would you like to keep us going with Thomas Connolly?
Yeah, I think I would. Thomas Connolly via Facebook writes in, hey guys, didn't want to post this directly to the page, and you may have seen or shared this already, but in light of the hilarious Palkey bashing in your first season,
oh no,
you might, so if you're listening to this as the remaster for the first time, we talk a lot about the Palkey in the original season, but he continues, I thought you might enjoy or become blind with rage at this tidbit that I spotted in Metal Gear Solid 1 official strategy guide. After Ocelot shoots the key out of Snake's hand and you have to run down to collect it from the drainage ditch, there's a chance that the key will get eaten by one of the mice running around in the little trench place. You then have to find and kill the mouse to recover the key. What's particularly fun about this is that it will only happen if you've been spotted less than 10 times. In other words, the game rewards your careful diligence and skilled gameplay by making you run around a sewer after a rat to get the fucking PAL key back, as if having to ride that stupid cargo elevator 15 times wasn't enough. I've aged years on that thing.
Wow, I did not know that.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, thanks for all your hard work on the show. It's made my recent playthroughs endlessly more entertaining. Thank you, Thomas. This happened to me in Twin Snakes, and it's the first time it's ever happened to me, and I hated it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Wow.
Isaac, would you like to continue with the next one?
I would. This comes to us.
I'm going to pull up one for the very end that I forgot to include in this document. So just that you guys know, I do have one more after this. Or after the last one.
This one comes to us live from Liquid Metal Mike.
LMM, baby.
LMMMM.
Who also just recently became a patron. So thank you.
LNNOP.
Yeah, thanks Liquid Metal Mike for your patronage.
Yes, thank you. Anyway, he's not really live, just so you know. He says, loving the early release and Patriot Club episodes. Can't believe it took me this long to patronize MGM. You guys definitely make it worth it.
That's a plug for the Patreon.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't even us. That was him writing to us.
Yeah.
That Cyborg Ninja Papa Roach song was glorious. The world needs a full-length production. That was, I did enjoy that.
It was something.
All right, Isaac,
was
this next
something.
part may make no sense to you, but
Yep.
you should just read it anyway.
I'm going for it. Here we go. So you guys remember the theory before the Phantom Pain? Nope. It came out that Ishmael was actually Decoy Octopus. We know that he shaved down his nose, jaw, and cheekbones, and Ocelot mentions he is Foxhound's oldest member. Of course, everyone but Isaac now knows the truth. Oh,
He
geez.
means just in real life. Everyone but Isaac knows the truth.
Every single person. But I think that would have been a better than what we would have ultimately gotten with TPP. What do you guys think? Would it have been cool to see Decoy Boy more fleshed out? As always, thanks for the great content. MMM. P.S. Cyborg Ninja Frank Yeager slammed my head into the ground.
I love it. Thanks,
I,
Liquid Metal Mike.
My thing about Decoy Octopus is that there's such potential for him as a character. Decoy Octopus, I feel like could have struck me as maybe Decoy Octopus could have been a hardcore main villain for the series.
I agree.
If they would have done more with him, just based on his things. What if Decoy Octopus is Skullface? I could just say a bunch of random shit and whatever.
It would have been cool to see him in that game somehow.
Yeah, in 5 somewhere, if he's the oldest member.
What his boss battle would have been like, though. He's just a dude in a trench coat.
Yeah.
It's the best kind.
His face just changes the whole time.
Oh God, he looks like.
What if it's?
He looks like a character from A Scanner Darkly, like one of those cops that wear the body changing suits.
What if it's like one of those non-standard boss battles, like the Sorrow, or where it's remember that episode of Avatar where Aang has to go into the cave, and if he shows any emotion, the thing will steal his face. Maybe that's what that's what the battle is.
Like the Black Lodge from
be
Twin
dope.
Peaks. If you show any fear,
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
I'm just gonna keep tying it back to Lynn.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I just realized. I'm sorry. This PS was supposed to be, I think, the
song,
and I botched that. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It might be.
I was just
on a
reading
night like
words.
tonight. Chances are that I might.
Frank Yeager.
James, do you want to finish us off with that sounds extremely disgusting.
Oh
and
yeah, let me
sexual.
finish you off, boys.
Do you
wanna
Fine,
wait?
fine,
Hey,
definitely
James,
right
you wanna
there.
climb on top of us and finish us off?
Sorry, fam. So Matt Smith.
It's even gross.
Jesus Christ.
Nice. Otacon stays nasty, you know what I mean? See, Alice, I knew we would find common ground here. I'm glad that we had that.
Hold on, real quick.
Excuse me,
Anybody who's listening to this needs to go to MGM number 69 and listen to the fan fiction episode because James reads some personalized haikus.
Oh
and one of them
God, the
involves
fanfiction
Otacon
episode
staying
was
nasty.
episode 69, wasn't it?
Nice.
Wrote some
How
sick haikus.
how perfect is that? Nice.
Yeah. So, Matt Smith wrote in via Patreon. When listening to these episodes, it reminded me of something I brought up to Alessia a while back. In MGS1, Revolver Ocelot picks up his hand after Ninja chops it off. So why in 4 does he have Liquid's arm? Why would you elect to have a transplant when you have your original limb?
That's a good question.
One of the premonitions in this game I never thought much about was Naomi programming Snake's nanomachines so that he can't use his weapon in the nuclear storage building. Very MGS4.
Yeah. So there's a lot of MGS2, MGS4 stuff here. Yeah. Do we want to talk about why does
It's weird.
why does Ocelot
Didn't think
not
about that.
go with his normal hand?
What's the power of Big Boss?
So it
My hand.
it it does become it does like so spoilers for 4 if nobody has played it. It does become revealed that like Ocelot's kind of double crossing everybody and that it's all bullshit. But the hand is still Liquid's actual hand, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
pretty sure.
He just loved him so much.
Yeah, he was like Eli. I need
My
I need your
headcanon
soft
here is
touch.
I
that
need you in me.
my headcanon here is that he had his original hand and then it got chopped off again.
My headcanon here is that his Liquid arm is still like that of like a 30-year-old's, and that the rest of his body has aged tremendously.
Well, then they're like a hybrid in 4, so it's like Liquid.
Yeah.
They're almost like 50-50 Two-Face Ocelot Liquid.
One big Liquid Ocelot.
Gross. I don't like that.
Blender.
So before we get to the very bottom of this, I want to dive into Adam Bradbury via Facebook. He Facebooked me personally, which is why I didn't include it in the document at first. But he just sent over just kind of a list of things that he wanted to submit as listener response. And it's a lot of really cool like attention to detail stuff from the game. So I just kind of wanted to rattle through this as sort of secrets / cool shit. So he says, 1, there's cool attention to detail in that if you don't have the pistol, the cutscene with Meryl is different. When Snake says, "Can you shoot me, rookie?" he grabs the barrel of Meryl's gun instead of pulling the pistol. And I think we've talked about that loosely. Matt Smith also emailed me some pictures that showcases, I know we were confused about this, I think, on the episode. So you don't punch a guard to get a gun. There's just a SOCOM floating on the floor. Which is like, what?
That's how guns work.
Yeah. Adam then continues, something you can do when backtracking through the nuke building is the no guns thing only starts once you crawl through the door, so you can use the sniper rifle while laying in the doorway and take out every guard in the room.
Oh, shit.
You can't do this in
That's
Twin
phenomenal.
Snakes. Also, you can shoot rats with the sniper rifle and get yelled at over codec for it.
That's cool.
Then he says there's another way to beat Psycho Mantis that they accounted for, in fact, for the fact that maybe your controller port 2 is broken. Campbell will call and ask if something is wrong with port 2 and that you can still disable Mantis's power by destroying a statue wearing his mask somewhere
Whoa.
in the room,
What?
which I forgot about.
That's
There
dope.
are 2. Yeah, there are 2 on either side. This is another thing that I had to do in Twin Snakes, which I will explain when we talk about that for certain particular reasons. Alessia.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, I haven't gotten there yet. You're totally right. We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Poo-poo.
Yeah.
Adam says, I had an auto-fire controller that worked. I guess it didn't auto-push the button fast enough to trigger the countermeasure that Sam discussed. Also, it is the ninja who breaks you out if all of your escape attempts fail. I didn't know about this at all.
Whoa, what?
If you try to escape from the jail and can't get out, after like the 3rd or 4th torture section, Snake will get a cold if you submit to the torture.
Yeah.
And if you don't submit, you can't get out, the ninja will break you out,
Holy shit.
which I had no idea.
Wow.
That's cool. So he breaks you out and then immediately disappears and calls you back, and he's like, "By the way, there's a bomb in your pocket."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
And
put
then
it
Adam
there.
threw out in response to us saying that the comms tower kind of felt like a weapon tax or like a damage tax. Adam said there is one way to avoid some damage in the communication tower alert section: stun grenades. Just try to evenly space them out, and some of the guards will get stunned as you run by. Don't put on the infinite ammo bandana and throw a bunch at once, or your screen will be white for a good while. Also, if you call Campbell after reaching the top, Snake is out of breath, and Naomi calls him out on it. And Campbell asks him if he is out of shape from all of his dog mushing.
Wow, what a fucking! I'd like to
that's
see
great.
one of them try and run up the
God.
fucking entire comms tower.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
why
right?
he has
Snake
such
might be a
nice
dumbass,
ass
but that's-
running
but-
up all those stairs.
Jesus.
Yeah, you don't get a fucking ass like that by like slacking off. No, thank you.
Oh, absolutely not.
No skipping leg day.
Stairmaster.
So before we get to this very bottom thing, we are going to hold off the raffle a little bit longer. But one of the things that I wanted to throw out there, and let me see if I can find the initial email. So the reason why I'm looking for the initial email here, so just to set the scene, Liquid Metal Mike, he is a new patron, and typically we only read like the 150 word messages whenever somebody is a new listener. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that we've been using a lot of Mike's artwork on the show.
Yeah.
On the
might I say phenomenal artwork?
Yeah,
I've used
fantastic.
Mike's artwork as my phone background in the past. Like it's
yeah, 100%. And yeah, Mike does really great shit. You've probably seen it on our website and stuff. But in lieu of that, I wanted to say to Mike, hey, we'll do something a little extra special for you. So he sent over sort of his first email version of our fan fiction. So he sent over the first chapter of his Metal Gear fan fiction and asked us to play it out. And I'm trying to vamp for time a little bit here because he sent me a cast list of who would play who, but now I'm not seeing it anywhere. So let me just double check that it's not on Patreon or something.
Please I would like to request that if Isaac is a narrator, we should change that.
Wow.
Get at it, Sam.
Damn,
I'm gonna be narrator,
it's rough.
and I'm gonna be a
Wow.
good narrator.
I'm gonna be narrator out of spite.
That's crazy. And it's not super long, so everybody at home who's like, oh, God, I'm going to have to listen to these guys read fan fiction for the next 25 minutes. Like, it ain't bad like that. Let me, Mike, I apologize that I'm flubbing on this. I've got it right here. I got it, found it. So he wants to request Sam as Raiden, Isaac as the narrator,
God damn it!
and myself as Snake.
Smart.
Thank you
All right,
you so much.
You guys ready? So this is for you, Liquid Metal Mike. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for all the sick drawings. Isaac, would you like to narrate us?
Or maybe it's because he thinks I can't do impressions.
Maybe he thinks you can't narrate. Maybe he thinks you're just going to fumble through it.
Oh. Maybe I will.
Regardless.
Who knows?
A little column A, a little column B. Am I right?
Oh, no. All right, Isaac, whenever you're
Sorry,
ready.
no,
All right,
Isaac,
here
I
goes.
love you so much, and you're so talented and wonderful, and I love you.
Sure. All right. Chapter 1. Snake sits silently on a sectional couch, upholstered in tweed. Cigarette burns litter the cushions. The tiny apartment is in a South Bronx high-rise, yet it smells like a wet basement.
Devil May Cry.
Oh man.
The running shower in the next room halts as Snake lights a fresh smoke. Raiden enters the room with a yellow towel wrapped around his waist and proceeds to the kitchen opposite of where Snake is sitting, opening and closing the cupboards. Raiden exclaims,
We're out of canned oysters.
You mean the oysters I bought?
replied Snake.
You can't own oysters, Snake. They come from the ocean. Oh, that reminds me. The Wi-Fi is out again. You really need to pay that bill.
Said Raiden. I don't...
Ever think about paying it yourself, you little freeloading, franchise-stealing turd?
Snake says under his breath.
Did you say turd?
Real quick, too, I do want to interject. The name of this fanfiction is Metal Gear Roommates, Tactical Shared Quarters Espionage Action.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
No.
That's beautiful.
The actual line reads, What's that?
Raiden replies. Snake quickly responds.
Nothing.
Raiden asks insistently.
Did you say nerd?
No.
Snake mutters. Opening a can of Surge, Raiden continues.
What year is this?
Surge is back.
3 years ago.
It's back. It's back and have it.
Oh, wow.
They have it at Burger King. Yeah, it's been around. Dude, this place is a mess, and I got Rose coming over tonight. Maybe instead of staring at the TV, which isn't even on, you can clean some of this shit up. I love that.
Dude,
I love
right?
Snake
Is a-
just watches TV.
Yeah, right? It's a very direct.
Dumb.
Yeah, Snake's a fucking idiot. That's what I've learned from these
Hilarious.
games.
Just staring at the TV.
He's like, ooh, what?
Duh.
He thinks the burn-in is is the show.
In a shallow voice, Snake argues.
None of this shit is mine anyway. Why would I clean your mess to impress your on and again, off again?
Raiden cuts him off.
My mess? Why is everything about possession with you, man?
He pauses to slug down half of his soda before continuing.
Slug down.
This is amazing. Thank you, Liquid Man Mike.
Thank you so much. That's why you can't keep a girl around. You're obsessed with ownership. Jesus Christ.
Jesus, this is getting deep.
Snake decides to drop the argument and starts to pick up Raiden's dirty drawers that litter the 8x10 living room.
Mike, do you have this mapped out somewhere? Mike, do you have like a floor plan?
We need the floor plan.
This is like a D&D map he's got. This is our D&D game that we're playing right now.
Oh, man. Plopping down in the spot where Snake had just risen from, Raiden goes on.
Oh my god!
Come on.
I just need you guys to know. I just need you guys to know that we're reading this as we go, and I have no idea what's coming up.
Oh my
Sam.
god! This is not where I thought
Whatever
this was
happened to
going.
that tall... Whatever...
Oh my god, this is so wonderful.
Whatever happened to that tall, red-headed glass of Texan Sun tea you were going with? Her booty was on fleek, even back in the PS1 days.
Oh, man. Finishing his statement.
can
with
a
another
booty
sip
be on
from his
fleek?
can of
Is that-
soda.
Dude, her booty could cut glass.
Oh,
Back in the PS1 days.
He puts his feet up on the empty cable spool they use for the coffee table, showing no concern that Snake now has to avert his eyes to avoid seeing his junk surrounded in damp white hair. What?
Oh
Snake
fuck!
responds.
She's with Johnny now.
Oh, jeez. Raiden spits out his drink uncontrollably, yet directly into Snake's face.
That dude with IBS?
He yells in surprise.
It's not IBS.
Snake exclaims while wiping surge from his face.
It's a very rare genetic disorder, and Meryl can see past that. You could be a little more sensitive.
Jesus, Snake.
Raiden replies.
She chose the guy that blows up his shorts on the daily over you. That's just sad, man.
He finishes his
God.
surge and crushes the can before tossing it onto the cable spool coffee table.
Cable spool.
I love these
Cable
descriptions.
course.
God
A
damn
fucking
it, Mike.
course.
It's
They have a cable spool coffee table.
they're in college.
God
again.
damn it, Mike.
Anyway, if you're going down to the laundromat, the trash really needs to be taken out.
Snake sighs as he pulls the overfilled hefty bag from the bin, which tears open at the bottom, spilling empty oyster
no.
tins all over the stained kitchen linoleum. He gathers the spilled cans into a new bag and exits the apartment. As the door closes, he hears Raiden's muffled voice call out.
We're out of surge.
His exclamation is followed by the sound of extremely loud death metal starting up from behind the door. A defeated Solid Snake makes his way down the hall, passing the broken elevators and entering the stairwell. Raiden's music fades away into the hallway behind him as he descends the staircase.
That was really depressing, Mike.
That was amazing. Big fan.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Give him the
Love
Pulitzer.
that. Love that.
All right, you guys. So this is what
That
the
was
moment
awesome.
that some people have been waiting for. Exactly 22 people actually
Hell yeah.
have been waiting for. So we've got a little randomizer.
23. Ooh.
Congratulations.
Who wants the honors? So if whoever's in the spreadsheet, if you click on an empty cell, if you hit backspace, the randomizer will pick a number. So who wants the honors of hitting backspace?
Oh man, there's a lot of people in here.
So
yeah. So
there's
somebody.
a lot of people.
Who do we want to delegate to do this?
I'll do it.
Okay. So Sam, drum roll, please. Sam's going to pick a person. We're going to read their name out loud. I can follow up with this person via message closer to the time that this episode airs. Probably the same day, honestly, that the episode airs. I'll reach out to you. But if you have not heard from me and you hear your name, please reach out to us via all the ways that we're about to name check. But the prize that you win is for commenting on the poll or for commenting on the thread. You will get a US PSN code for MGS1.
Which is
was-
like really cool. So
Yeah,
did we mention who provided it for us?
Yeah, so it's at GarterBelt_MGS on Twitter. Awesome dude. He's been following us and been super nice. And he just happened to provide a free key. So
Yeah. So like super cool. Thank you, Garter Belt, for that. Who I believe is a cosplayer, right?
yeah, I think so
Is that
too. Yeah, he's the one who has got really cool stories about running into like David Hayter at conventions and stuff.
Yeah, which is dope.
That's sweet.
But yeah, so we are going to. I kind of said that really dismissively, but I did not mean it in that way.
All right, Sam, do us the honors, sir.
I
Oh,
will do us the honors. The spreadsheet closed on me, so I
Sam.
no.
1 second. All right, I'm just gonna press backspace a bunch of times.
How many times?
I don't know. If this is, you press backspace a little bit?
You can't pick which one you want to give it to.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just gonna press it like a bunch of times. Here's what I will do, Isaac. I'm pressing backspace right now. You tell me when to stop.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very nice.
I'm covering up all the names, so I don't know who they are.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not even going to look at the screen.
Okay.
You
Just
ready
say
for
the word
this?
Stop.
Stop.
All right. The dial has landed on number 15, which is our big winner. Can I get a drum roll, please? Can I get a witness? You mind if I praise God for a minute? It is Cole Duncan.
Choo-choo. That's a train.
That's right, baby. From Seattle, Washington, all the way to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Can I get a Cole Duncan? So congratulations, Cole. I feel like
Congrats.
I'm glad that somebody got you something because we sure as fuck probably owed you something at this point, and I don't want to give you something.
What up, Cole?
No, I'm kidding. Cole's great. So along those lines, let's do some quick plugs real quick. I'll plug the show, and then we'll plug ourselves. If you like what you're listening to, definitely make sure you give us a subscribe and a rating, depending on what platform you're on. iTunes reviews actually go a long way to helping boost SEO across the board. But likewise, we are doing things on our end to boost SEO, like kind of updating our posts on our website, and I've also included it's Metal Gear Mondays dash a Metal Gear Solid podcast on all of the official listings, because it dawned on me all of the other podcasts who show up on SEO predominantly all have the words Metal Gear Solid in the title.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
think we are slowly learning and slowly gaming the
Get
system.
close.
But because of that, if you guys could anytime you share anything, if you could just like include a URL for the website or link to an episode, any links coming back to MetalGearMondays.com or MetalGearSolidPodcast.com would be extremely helpful. And if you guys want to support in any way outside of that, feel free to leave reviews, tell people about the show, tweet about us. I've discovered that tweeting about the show on fan Twitter accounts for Metal Gear has gotten a lot of traffic. So we want to bring more people into the fold. And outside of that, definitely be sure to patronize us. It's patreon.com/Metal Gear Mondays. $2 a month is sort of the sweet spot right now. It's $2 and $10 are kind of the two sweet spots. At $2, you can get episodes early, but you also get access to the Patriot Club, which is us talking about non-Metal Gear games twice a month. $10, you get videos, and not just like thank you videos every quarter, which are great, and we have a lot of fun doing, but we've also been doing Let's Play videos, and we've been kind of keeping those as Patreon for now until we can get the website to a better place, and then we might trickle those out, the older ones, for general public. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You can check us out on Facebook, Metal Gear Mondays, Instagram. Sam does an amazing job. Metal Gear Mondays, bit.ly/MGM store for merchandise. We made some super topical Super Bowl shirts that say "fuck the Lalelulelo" instead of "fuck the Patriots," and they look very good. Sam did a great job, so you guys should check that stuff out. Twitter at Metal Gear Monday. Sam, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Sanjul. That's SANJUUL. I spent the entirety of my workday today. I've been cooped up in my house because of the snow here. I've gotten out a little bit, but I haven't been to my office in like 8 days.
Whoa.
And so today I spent the entire day doing like PowerPoints about RAS access and VPNs, listening to Selena on repeat, and my newest Twitter campaign is to get Selena on starring Jennifer Lopez on Netflix. So follow me on Twitter if you want that, and because who doesn't? And I'm dying. That's how much I love Selena. And also, I'm remiss to not again mention Instagram, Metal Gear Mondays. Love those clips. come out every Monday, just like the show. They're on a bit of a delay behind the episode count, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cannot recommend enough. Likewise, I think James and I are about to get hit with some pretty bad weather as well. So we'll be joining you in the snowstorm, Sam.
Woo!
Isaac, where can people find you on the internet?
Ooh. Oh, excuse me. Find me on the Twitter at doesn't have a twit, and that's all.
That's another product that we have on we have a sticker that says it's doesn't have a twit.com, which Isaac is wont to say constantly.
I refrained from saying it. I was gonna say it.
Wow.
It's just the best.
Very nice. Alice, where can people find you on the internet?
Instagram at Titwillow. That's about it.
Very nice.
No,
And that's
no
TITWILO, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No
Nice.
W.
No W.
No W.
How's it Titwillow with no W?
I think we talked about this,
Yeah.
Alessio.
Yeah.
I love those little things. They're little tiny, little cute, jumpy around birds. Love
It's
those
from
things.
the Mikado. There's like a song.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Alice has some extremely good photography, so that is like a pro follow. I would heavily recommend that.
Yeah. Profile.
Very nice. James, where can people find you?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at James Reichmuth. It's REICHMUTH, jamesreichmuth.com. Check it out. See ya.
Did you say so yeah or see ya?
I said see ya.
Wow. Very nice.
I'm going to see him on the other side. See him on the internet. You know?
Yeah, very nice. Cool. Now we're getting to the part of the show where I always feel like a deer in headlights, and that feeling will probably never go away. We have got to find a way to sign off on this show more regularly.
Let's get out of here.
Alice, do you have any ideas? You're the guest.
God.
How do we get to this line?
Get us to the finish line.
I'm so bad at this, you guys.
Dude, I'm worse. I
I'm
promise
gonna
you.
defer to Sam. He'll do something fun.
Oh God. So I was.
How have we kept this
Due to the
going for
storm.
almost 100 episodes, you guys?
Who fucking knows, man? I was without power for 36 hours.
Jeez.
Due to the storm, and they, for the entire time it was off, they couldn't give us. They were trying to figure out what the cause was. The cause was unknown if you check the outage maps, and at the end of it all, we found out that it was this junction box that was keeping the power off this whole time. So they had to like replace it and repair it with a completely new box, and it's crazy that if you think about it, that something as big as that could wipe out the power for the entire apartment complex. It's just a box. Like, it's crazy.
I love the idea of you telling that whole story and it not ending on, on it being just about. You're like, and it was crazy. And that's it.
And they were roommates.
And then Snake was very depressed.
I really thought they were gonna bang.
This is fun.
Yeah, I was hoping.
That's chapter 2.
Oh, Jesus.
Chapter
All right, y'all.
2.
You did too?
No, I said that's chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Oh.
Just a box.